Welcome to the 96th episode of the Nerdom and Other Nonsense anime podcast. Today, we'll be breaking down anime that aired during the 9th week of the spring 2019 season. As always, we include timestamps in the description of the YouTube video and podcast feed if you only want to hear, about one because you're a casual and you only watch one anime this season.
That's the best way to do it. Just pick the best anime.
No, that's not. Fuck you.
Filthy casuals.
Fuck you and the horse you rode in on if you do that. My name is Kat, and everybody wants to find out what is in the basement in Attack on Titan. But be warned, I will have to kill you if you find out what I keep in mind. Also with me are Leo and Bcom.
What's up?
Hey, what's up? How you guys doing?
For a second, I thought you were going to do a weird she-wolf in your closet, overplay with that. And I was like, what is this going to be? I'm glad it didn't go there.
Nah, nothing that sinister.
Jesus. No, just killing people. Had fun writing that one.
Much less sinister.
Yeah, we're finally finding out what's in the basement this week. So look forward to that later this episode.
Oh God! But it's not that simple. They're gonna tease it for more time. Is that a spoiler for our episode? They tease it some fucking more.
They do spend a lot of time walking slowly
Don't
towards
worry,
the basement.
Kat, I made sure to be and then they saw a broken teddy bear. And that symbolized the kids killed. And then the broken down house. And then they were collecting 4 plates and 2 cups.
And they get to this one part, and I'm like, just tell us what's in the goddamn thing. And they're just like, but we did find this. And then they just pan away, and you're like, what was it? What was it, bitch?
So that'll start right up after the halfway point if you want to just skip to that immediately. It seems like it's going to be a fun segment.
I feel like Kat's going to interrupt me a lot when I'm doing that one.
We could talk about some nonsense we got up to this week. How about Leo? You start first.
Okay, so JD and I on the Anime Radicals Network, we did an episode over E3 and basically covered a lot of Microsoft and a little bit of everybody else and tried to hit the more popular games and the ones we thought were more popular. So that should be out before this episode, so go check that out. It'll be really cool. And then after that,
very cool.
I went to JD's podcast, the Red Leaf Retrocast, and we did a May gaming one. Basically, he just told me the 5 or 6 so games he played, and I asked questions about them. And he played some really crappy ones and some really good ones, and then one that I'm probably going to check out if I ever get downtime from gaming anymore. Yeah, because as we say multiple times, this September and next year's March are so stupidly stacked. I don't even know if we'll be done with all the September stuff by the time March rolls around.
I wouldn't worry too much about March because I assume some things will get delayed like they always do, but September does seem pretty stacked.
September's pretty bad. But that's what I got up to. So everybody go check out the Anime Radicals and then go check out JD's podcast, The Red Leaf Retrocast.
You guys, you have to support Leo. It's his debut into society. He's finally making himself available.
We bought him a nice dress community. And everything.
I know. We put a bow in his hair.
Yeah, I did my hair and everything. It was great.
Kat, did you have anything you wanted to talk about nonsense-wise?
Anything interesting happened yesterday?
Okay. Yeah, okay. So
that we had to delay the recording a day because
oh my god. So I went to walk my dog right before we were going to record yesterday, and my neighbor has just gotten a new dog from the fucking pound. And I mean, I love all dogs, but this dog is rather aggressive with other dogs, and I was just walking outside my house. The dog sees my dog Ruby and is like, attack! And just lunges and clamps his jaws around her throat. And so I have a secret weapon. I would classify this as a weapon in my arsenal.
So I have secret banshee skills.
Yeah, I have a scream that is unlike I think anyone's scream you've probably heard. I don't know why it's so loud. I don't know how I got this. It's just an ability that I pulled out of the hat when I was born. I don't fucking know. But if I'm really angry at you, if I'm pissed off, or if you, like, surprise me and, like, scare the fuck out of me, I will let out a scream that, like, will break the sound barrier. Like, people will come out of the house across the street and be like, what the fuck was that? Like, windows will shake. Like, I don't know why.
Oh, man. So you unleashed this wicked scream.
It's almost like a Pokemon move. Like, cat used scream or shriek or whatever.
Oh, what's it from?
Was super effective.
Kung Fu Hustle, the lion's roar. You guys ever seen that? Yeah. That's Cat.
So I'm like screaming this loud fucking blood curdling scream, and I'm whacking this dog like on the top of its head and like wedging myself in between my dog and that dog and trying to get it off my dog's throat. And this lady's like, oh, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, ah! And I'm like hitting it. And literally everyone on the ground floor, like, that was home, came out their fucking houses. Like, what the fuck's happening?
Who is being murdered outside right now?
Who's being murdered?
Oh, man.
And so we finally got the dog separated. Luckily, my dog is a husky, so she's like a lot of hair. So she got a bruised throat, but she didn't actually break her skin. And, you know, it was a whole mess, and, you know, people had to be called, and it was, but the funniest part was just the scream, because man, I think there were people across the way that were probably like, what the fuck was that? I haven't screamed like that in a while. I forgot I could do that. And I was equally as embarrassed by it as I have always been. I don't know what deep part of me is able to make that noise. I don't know.
Interesting superpower.
I've also been watching a show called Gentleman Jack this week from HBO. And it's fun. It's basically about this, like, lesbo in the 1800s in England who's like, you know, I'm going to find a wife. And it's actually historical, which is hilarious because I didn't know it was historical when I started watching it. And, it's like she's like a ladies' man, except she's a lady. And she just goes around and sleeps with a bunch of ladies.
Damn.
And,
ooh.
Yeah, and it's actually historical. She had the first lesbian marriage that was ever done in England.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. Huh.
Yeah, I did not know that was the thing. But it's also just hilarious because there's a lot of her being like, haha, and then I went to this country and I fucked a bunch of married women.
Yep.
And then her, like, just scaring the shit out of a bunch of, like, 18th century dudes who aren't used to being told what's what by a woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fun.
Wow,
she sounds like fun. Yeah.
Very interesting hairstyle in that show.
Yeah. So. Huh. But yeah, so what about you, Bcom? What did you get up to?
I did some, like, E3 inspired gaming the past few days. So there was this big announcement for Super Smash Brothers that Banjo Kazooie is a new character. And I'd always just been meaning to get back to playing Banjo Kazooie and just finally, like, seeing if I actually wanted to finish that
on the Xbox the other day. And I was in the party with my buddy Kyle, and I go, Bcom was playing Banjo Kazooie right now, and we just had like a little laugh about it. We're like, why is he playing that? I mean, it's just an odd one.
It was a great question. So yeah, it was because it was on my mind from E3, and I'd always wanted to just, like, finish that game because I'd started playing it a few times and never gotten too far. And so I was just like, all right, I'm going to mainline my way through this game. And it holds up, like, surprisingly well for being, like, an N64 game and then, like, an Xbox Live arcade game on Xbox 360. And it has, like, they got, like, a 4K texture update, which actually makes it look quite a bit better, too. And so, yeah, like, I was really enjoying that game up until, like, the last part of it, where it just turns into, like, nightmare fuel. There's just, like, all these levels that, like, start asking you to, like, do stuff, and if you like, fall off, like, a tree, it's this big connected level that is, like, a tree, and it's in 4 different seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. And so, like, you have to do certain things in spring so that in summer, like, plants will have grown so you can get to different parts of the level and feed this like baby eagle and all this stupid stuff. I don't know. It's interesting game design, but the problem is like it's a really annoying tree to like platform up, and like you constantly fall off, and when you fall off and die, you lose progress on certain things and you have to go back to the last season. So that was annoying. And then like the penultimate level of the game is a quiz show conducted by this witch, Gruntilda, who is like the big bad. She's like the main boss. And the quiz show, she like asks you questions about like the game up to that point, and she shows you like really blurry images, and she's like, "Where in the game have you been?" And it's like, I have no idea where the fuck in the game this was. So I kept getting these things wrong and dying.
Does she fucking have like an accent or something?
She talks in rhymes all the time. Yeah, everything she says is a rhyme. But like, there's no spoken dialogue. Instead of it's just noises like it's so annoying.
What?
Yeah, no, I'm not joking.
That's an old. That's an old game for you, Kat. That's not really unusual.
Yeah, and
also, if I got to the end of the game and the last fight was just remembering the rest of the game,
well, it's not the last fight.
Gypped as fuck. I would be like, give me back half my money.
Well, so it's not
this at the end.
It's not quite the last fight, because you win the game show eventually, and then you save your little sister and take her back home, and the credits roll, and then they're like, oh, but you can go defeat the witch now if you want, and like so you go
after the credits roll.
Yeah, after
what the fuck.
It's like a weird short version of the credits, because it was like a quiz show you were on, and so it's credits for the characters who took part in the quiz show, and then later in the game there's another credits sequence that's the actual credits after you beat the witch.
Bullshit. These people need to be punished in some way.
They've moved on to many things. They made this game a long time ago. But yeah, the last thing that's really annoying if you want to get like the 100% achievement is you have to solve these 7 so you have like pictures, right? And they turn into jigsaw puzzles and the pieces fly everywhere, and you have to put it back together under a certain amount of time. And those are really freaking annoying to get the last achievement. It took me a while to do that, and I was pissed. But anyway, finished Banjo Kazooie. I never have to play it again. That's basically my attitude. And then the other thing I played from E3 was the Forza Horizon 4 DLC LEGO Speed Champions, which was really fun. They basically made like another medium-sized Forza map, and it's like almost entirely made of Legos. And so like you're like blasting through Lego trees, and they like break into like different Lego parts and fly everywhere. As you like finish challenges and stuff, you get more Lego bricks, and then like you get like a huge Lego mansion that continuously builds like cool stuff. And you get like neat. 3 Lego cards to like basically roll around in. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was really cool how they would like smash through stuff and the Legos would go everywhere. I was like, oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And there's certain points in the game where the everything is awesome, or is the thing plays from like the Lego movie. And yeah, that's fun. I recommend like checking that out, especially if it goes down in price a little bit later. But the last thing I wanted to say, Whisper of the Heart is my favorite Ghibli movie, and there's a Fathom event for it on July 2nd if you want to see it subtitled. I think it's July 1st if you want to watch the dub like a heathen. But if you want to see it the real way, July 2nd, go see Whisper of the Heart in theaters. It's a great movie, and that's all I want to say.
Yeah, people who only want to watch dubs, I shudder at you. I understand that it's a cultural difference and that we may never understand each other, but I just can't. Why? Why do you do this?
Those are my British friends, unfortunately.
Sometimes they're fine. Like, sometimes the dubs are fine, but I just almost always prefer the voice direction of the Japanese cast.
There are some dubs that are fine, but, like, there are also some dubs that are god-awful pieces of shit.
Well, yeah.
And I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing with this?
Speaking of dubs that are... Actually, no, I think the dub for Fruits Basket is pretty good, from what I've seen for the new one. I haven't watched too many episodes of it, but what I have seen, the dub sounds fine. So Fruits Baskets is like a super simple show. How can you fuck up the dub, honestly?
It's very nostalgia based simple. It's like, and on this episode of like Snuggly Fun Time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
until they get to the dark stuff.
That is wearing on me pretty bad, and right now at this point.
I love how we're probably going to end covering this before any of the interesting shit actually happens.
I hope not. We'll see. It depends how many great shows there are next season. It really depends on that. But yeah, tell us about episode 9.
Okay, so episode 9, Yuki was my first love. So at the very beginning, you see this new character who looks all cool, and he's like kind of posing, and 2 girls go by, and they're like, I wish I could ask him out. But then he rides off on his fucking bike like a loser.
He rings the bell on it. Yeah,
ching,
yeah.
ching.
And they're like, aw. Like, fuck that. And then, the episode starts off with Toru going to the store and getting groceries. And then Kyo and Yuki go with her, but they just sit outside and fight while she does all the fucking shopping. And I'm like, what the hell? Go in and be useful. If you have time to scream at each other on the street, then go inside and help her shop.
You got to look at it from Toru's point of view, okay? She told them to stay outside because she didn't want to bring 2 kids who are going to fight the whole time into the store with her.
You know what? Maybe they should just shut their fucking mouths and just help her and just focus on the task at hand. Ugh.
Look, they have things to fight about, They don't have time for grocery shopping.
They don't have enough time in their day to be fucking morons. They need more time, apparently. Anyway, the 3 of them go home, and it becomes clear, like, Yuki has this cold. He's getting sick. And Yuki's like, I can't take it easy, though, because the marathon's tomorrow at school. And Kyo's like, a marathon? And he freaks out, and he's like, I'm going to beat you, Yuki. And Yuki's like, well, I have a cold, so
yeah. I mean, what's your sense of honor,
unfair.
Man? Come on.
I know. And he's like, fuck honor. It only matters that I beat you. And I'm like, okay. And then they point out that zodiac animals transform when they get physically ill and like weak. And so Yuki should really be careful because, you don't want to be running down the street and then just poof into a rat. That might be a little problematic.
Traumatic for your classmates to see, honestly.
Yeah. And then Toru's like, I don't feel like I can say anything, even though it's a bad idea. And I'm like, why? You have a mouth. You're next to him. Say it. But no, she doesn't. And then, yeah. Then it becomes the day of the race. And I love how Toru's talking to Yuki before the race. And then these jealous bitches come. Yeah. And they're like, why are you talking to him with your mouth parts? And like pull her away.
Drag her away, yeah, kicking her.
I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? This is what's wrong with women. Why do women always have to fight each other? I don't know.
Because there's only one hot guy out there.
Only one in the entire world.
In the entire world.
Oh, yeah.
They must have him.
Anyway, so like Hana is all like, oh, I don't know if I can run, and then immediately after they do the like starting sound, she's like, I can't go on any further, and she like passes out on the ground and it's like, yes, I will walk.
Honestly, she's like the only thing I'm actually find interesting in this show.
I like her so
her
much.
antics do keep cracking me up a little bit.
Yeah.
She ran like 3 steps before she was done. It was ridiculous.
I love how the gym teacher's like, I just don't fucking care. Just go.
Do what you're gonna. He's like, walk, do whatever.
He knows better than to fucking engage with her. He's like, just fucking let her have her way. She's just gonna make things more difficult if I try.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so Toru sees the new character from earlier and like laying in the grass, and she kind of mistakes him for an old person because of his silver hair.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't actually see silver hair in like real life on like young guys typically, so yeah. Common mistake.
Yeah. And it turns out he is a Soma, and his name is Haru. And he stops Yuki and Kyo. So like, okay, he's like, oh wait, I see them coming. He goes out into the fucking street and ties this like rope And then as Kyo comes, he's like, haha, and like Roadrunner style, like makes him fucking trip.
Yeah.
I was laughing because Kyo had also like taken off his shoes to run faster. And I was like, is that because he's like a cat and he's like used to running on his bare feet? Or is he just dumb?
He's just dumb. They all have no brain. Anyway, so I don't know. Toru's like, ooh, Haru's so mature. Like, da-da-da-da. But then he immediately is like, Kyo, I want to fight you. And I'm just like, I don't know how fucking mature this man is. This is his first instinct just to fight someone. But yeah, Kyo doesn't get it. But gets really pissed. He's like, why am I angry? Because Haru makes this remark of like, I'm going to steal your girl. I'm going to steal her and make her mine and do things to her. And the show does this very stereotypical thing where it's like, I don't understand why I'm angry that he said that, but I am. Like, tell me how many anime you've seen do that, Bcom, because I feel like it's a billion.
It's got to be in like the 50 to 60 range at least that I've seen.
But I will give it a pass and say probably when this was first created, that was like original and unique, and it's just not anymore. Yeah, and apparently Kyo is stronger. There's like a sequence where they fight. It's not very interesting to me. Kyo is apparently stronger. You find out that Yuki also, like, they trained together. Everyone trained for martial arts, but like Yuki never liked it, which is interesting because he's very good at it.
Yeah.
But Kyo always did love it. So I guess sometimes it's not all about what you like. It's just talent sometimes too.
Yeah, and Yuki's always been the one who wanted to get out of the family and probably didn't want to be doing this stuff even if he was naturally talented.
Yeah. So. And then suddenly Yuki has like an attack and they immediately stop fighting because he's like, oh, I can't breathe. I'm having like an asthma attack or something. I can't remember if it's his heart or what it is, but he's,
It's basically just generally, I think he's sick and it's
anime disease is really what it is.
It's like he had a fever the night before, basically, like, yeah.
Well, but like he also has this ongoing illness that they talk about. He has attacks.
Oh, that's true.
So like,
yeah.
He has anime disease and he has a cold. So Haru, okay, this is the part that really pisses me off. So Haru decides to transform into a cow, which is like his zodiac animal. Mm-hmm. So he can take Yuki home with him since he can carry him easily that way. And a taxi would be trouble if like Yuki transformed halfway through. That makes sense. Like they can't use the taxi. Why? And so Haru's like, oh, I'll hug you, Toru, and then I can change. Why wouldn't you just have Yuki hug her? Because Yuki is a fucking rat. and it's like the tiniest thing ever. And then all you'd have to do is put him in a handkerchief, and then you could take a fucking taxi.
Two reasons. They are still following the story of the Zodiac. And then this is a way to show that Hatsuharu has gotten over his distaste for Yuki.
Third reason, Haru just wanted to hug a pretty girl. Which he pretty much says.
Like, what's more conspicuous than a cow walking down the fucking road carrying a person who's collapsed on his back?
I mean, it's conspicuous, yes, but the kids that were like running behind it seem to enjoy. This is the sight of this happening.
I'm just saying, they're like, well, we can't do anything conspicuous. Let's do the most conspicuous thing ever to avoid this. It's like, whatever.
As you said, they have no brains.
Yes. So yeah, meanwhile, Hana plays cards instead of running, and she keeps attracting more people to play, and the gym teacher's just like, please just go home. Like, please stop. They get Yuki home, and Shigure is like, oh, I'm going to go to the high school and get all of your homework. And of course, Tori's like, you're so like responsible, but all he's thinking about is the hot like high school girls who he'll get to see, which is him. And then Haru goes home, but first he admits that Yuki was his first love, and he's like very casual about it, which makes me kind of wonder like if it is really a joke or if they meant him to be sort of an ambiguous character with his sexuality. It's kind of interesting.
I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, he talks about how he used to hate Yuki because all the adults said that the cow was dumb for letting the rat ride him, and he had a lot of anger and started acting out, and that's when he got all rebellious and angry because he has that black Haru side that comes out when he fights. But then he met Yuki, and even though he was like pissed and was yelling at Yuki, Yuki's just like, "Are you an idiot though?" And then when he said no, Yuki's was like, "Well, I believe you." And this helped Haru overcome a lot of his anger, I guess. But to me, that just feels so easy. Like,
Yeah.
it just feels like a poo-poo, like, fluffy reason.
I agree. I just I wrote that down too, that like Haru's in love with Yuki because he's the first person to actually ask him whether he was stupid or not and show the tiniest bit of compassion. Apparently negging still works, anime confirmed.
Shit.
There's all these people in this anime who've like never had anyone be nice to them ever, and then the first time like they are, boom, they're in love forever. It's so stupid. I don't know, but yeah.
But yeah, so Haru wonders if Toru basically is changing Yuki. And he's like, "Toru, why don't you call him by his first name to test it?" And when she does, he transforms, and it's because he's so shocked and embarrassed, and like he has it fucking bad. And Toru's just like, "Oh, I failed." And I'm like, "How dense can you get? You the opposite of failed. You're such an idiot." And then Shigure and Kyo also end up playing poker in the end with Hana, and they all get sick because they're all out until late at night.
Of course, everybody gets sick when one person gets sick in Japan.
Yeah, because they're all a bunch of wimps, and apparently they can't even go outside in the rain without dying.
It would have been better if they got rained on during the race.
I would love to see in an anime, there's like a crowd of people, it starts raining, and they all collapse one by one in the middle of the street because the rain, oh no. People have to come like get them off the street with gurneys.
So I got really annoyed by that one part where Haru was sort of threatening to do certain things to Toru. Like, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I'm reading it.
What it's
I'm
supposed
reading
to
it
mean?
a very specific way.
Come on.
Why are we getting like rape threats against Toru in this anime?
Because
Why the fuck is that a thing that's happening in Fruits Basket?
2000? Is that when it was made?
Yeah.
Because it's an old ass anime and that used to be acceptable.
Yeah, 2001.
And it's no longer acceptable.
Oh man, that was not something. I was kind of taken aback by that scene because I was like, oh, that doesn't fit with the rest of this show at all.
Are you taken aback by the world's dark past?
Apparently.
It shows that Japan has advanced a little bit, I guess, if you want to look at it in a positive way.
It's just, something has like such a specific tone and like, yeah, there are some like dark things happening behind the scenes which haven't fully come to light as far as I know, but just like everyday interactions, like don't threaten to do things to Toru just because you want to get even with Kyo or whatever. Who cares?
We've come so far in the world. Lighthearted rape jokes are no longer a thing.
Yeah. It seemed to be a little bit out of date. But
shit.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Leo?
I'm so done with this show. If we never watched another episode from now, I wouldn't regret it.
It's definitely in a period of just like it's not going anywhere quickly, and the past few episodes I haven't gotten much out of them.
Yeah, and the drama isn't very drama-like to me, so I'm just like, why are we watching this episode? I mean, I guess we learned about a new guy, but we kind of did it in a boring way, I feel like. So
yeah.
Whatever.
And it's funny because like I now wonder how closely everything in the show is going to follow the story of the Zodiac, like with like the ox being jealous of the rat because the rat rode on his back and stuff. Like I don't know. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. We'll have to see. We're going to ride it out through the end of this season, see if it gets any better before the end. But yeah.
Okay. Cool. I guess we'll move on.
Sure.
To some JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Golden
Hell
Wind. Episode 33. His name is Diavolo. I will say this is one of the most difficult shows I've had to write synopsises for.
It's It's pretty hard to explain some of the bullshit
that's
that
the
happened.
problem. Like I watch 2 minutes, just to say 2 minutes of like this battle, and so then I type out, and then so and so did this, but then the other person countered with this, and then they did this, and then this happened, and then I reread it, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense at all. I gotta like kind of rewrite it a little bit.
It's ridiculous.
It's like some of them, I'm just gonna say it and don't expect me to explain how this works, because
sure, yeah, we can talk about it if it's important. Yeah,
because your guys' guess is as good as mine. So. Doppio decides that it would be best to help the weak Bruno and try and figure out what his goals are. Doppio quickly figures out something is really wrong with Bruno. He's cold, can't seem to see and hear, but for whatever reason, he can hear Doppio and see the wound on his neck that he got from risotto, even though it's like under his collar, which gets explained in a minute why Bruno can see that shit.
There's also like a little line near the beginning here where like Diavolo is talking to Doppio, like King Crimson is talking, and it's like, I don't know how this happened, but Bucciarati is already a corpse. And I was like, okay, if he doesn't know how it happened, then we're never getting a fucking explanation for how it happened.
We're just always going to be in the dark. It's just always going to be like, well, this happened. And nobody knows why. Nobody knows, but it just did. It frustrates me.
I know we talked about it before, but the best guess is that there was some weird reaction between Giorno's life-giving stand interacting with Diavolo's stand, like skipping time or resetting that time. Like there was some like weird thing that happened between that. That's the best I can think of it. But Doppio helps Bruno to cross the road and quickly hides at like a median once he sees Mista already at the Coliseum. Bruno is insistent that they get across and tries to go anyways, but then Doppio then gets his ring on. Dude, he's just like, ring, ring. Or what is that noise he does? I don't even know how to I don't even know how to imitate it.
You know what's funny is that like Bruno's kind of out of it at this point, but he's also like surprisingly okay with like this guy just making phone noises right next to him.
But he's kind of like, what are you doing, bro? But he ends up answering like the phone receiver, just the receiver in his hand. And he's like, why are you calling me now? He's going to figure us out, which is probably a terrible thing to say because that should immediately put Bruno on suspicions. But it also acts to stop Bruno from crossing the road because he's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
So Giorno and Trish are actually with Mr. Osto. Mr. Osto, when Giorno says, bitch, get back in the turtle. The danger still hasn't passed.
I don't think he says bitch. I'm pretty sure he says, get back in the turtle.
He should have. He basically should have. No, yeah, I ad-libbed that part. But yeah, he's like, get back in the turtle. But anyway, she came out to tell them she's getting that feeling. Because if you remember, they can kind of, her and Diavolo can sense each other a little bit.
Yeah, they have that same sense or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Diavolo tells Doppio that Bruno is already a corpse and can only see the souls of people now. Okay, whatever, he can. Since Diavolo's soul is similar to Trish, he mistakes Doppio for Trish. Doppio, of course, uses this to help Bruno the rest of the way into the Coliseum, and they end up meeting with Polnareff. He first demands to know who is the person with Bruno. Bruno says...
Good question. Good question to ask.
Yeah, who is that with you? Bruno says he wouldn't have any data on her because she's Trish. You know, she's been hiding this whole time anyways.
And they met her like 3 days ago, so like, yeah. He wouldn't know who she is.
Which is funny because it prompts Polnareff to say, isn't that a girl's name?
Yeah, I actually like that because he's like... and then Doppio thinks for a second, right? Is like... And then Diavolo tells him to say exactly these words back to him. And it's like, is there some problem with me being a girl? And then
that was funny.
Like that Polnareff's like, oh, I guess I said something I shouldn't have.
He's like, okay, I'm sorry.
Is it this episode where he gets a call when they're in the middle of the fucking street and he's like,
yeah,
where you talked about that.
Yeah, we just talked about it. It's ridiculous, but yes.
And then the part where he's like, is there a problem with me being a girl? It's just so... I love the way Jojo kind of plays with gender sometimes in odd ways.
Yeah, it's more fun and lighthearted with it, and especially with the ways that like certain discussions about this can be really triggering to people nowadays. Like, this is a fun, lighthearted thing, and like I love that Polnareff like apologizes for like overstepping his bounds a little bit.
Oh, I know. He's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't see you correctly.
It's like, oh no, okay, it's fine. If you identify as a woman, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Which is, this was written a long time ago, so it's just really interesting. He actually got this joke right.
Right, exactly.
So, Polnareff then demands he show him her stand, and then like Doppio slowly turns, and then the two suddenly both seem to recognize each other at first. This is when we get into like kind of a backstory on how they first encountered each other. So while in Egypt, Diavolo found some of the arrowheads, like 5 of them or something, and he met a woman named Yaiba. And if you're not familiar with her, she's one of the antagonists from
Stardust Crusaders.
Yeah, I was like, which one's which? And she ended up telling him how they actually worked. She also told him that the arrow chooses who it wants to give powers to, and that those people will always, for some reason, be attracted to each other, which is something that gets said every so often, that's why stand users keep coming towards each other. This, for whatever reason, they just gravitate towards each other. And then it does some switching back and forth with Polnareff and Diavolo taking turns doing the narrating. Polnareff then begins to narrate and talks about how they heard somebody else had dug up some more of the arrowheads, and he split up with Jotaro to be able to more easily track down the person who had them. He eventually finds his way to a small Italy town where the crime rate had gone way up. You already know where we are.
Right.
Diavolo then says he made 2 mistakes. One, thinking his crime empire was basically completed, and that he somehow didn't finish Polnareff when they finally came across each other. So, like, Polnareff has all these wounds, like, it was both legs and an arm, and he flew off a cliff and landed on a rock.
He had his eye cut open too, and that's why he has he wears like a sunglass
too.
Where's that like weird like droopy sunglass over his one eye?
And the thing is, the show makes a point to be like, Diavolos, I don't understand how you survived, but you did, and you're like, yeah, he should have been like dead 5 times over.
He really should. Yeah.
We come back to the present, and Doppio quickly disappears. And Giorno and the gang quickly realize that there are time skips happening, and then Diavolo confronts Polnareff. Diavolo attacks, and Polnareff has figured out when the time skips happens by watching the drops of blood onto his leg. So when it suddenly went from 3 drops to 5, he knew to activate his stand and actually counter Diavolo. And
that's pretty smart.
Yeah,
honestly, yeah.
And actually managed to slice his right forearm. And then Polnareff tries to escape by having his stand throw him. This is what I was talking about earlier at the beginning of this episode, where you're like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then what?
Yeah.
So Polnareff tries to escape by having his stand throw him, but Diavolo uses his stand to erase time and bring him back to the ground. And then as he goes in for the kill, he sees that Polnareff has stabbed his stand with the arrow, and he's like, oh, it's emitting some kind of power. And like Polnareff's stand, was it something chariot?
Silver chariot.
Chariot. It's like kind of like doing like this melting type thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Polnareff tries to make his stand take the arrow away, but Diavolo quickly kills him before he can, and he obtains the arrow for himself. It's in his hands. The rest of the gang shows up to find Bruno, and then this mysterious figure just surprises Diavolo right behind him. And then you see like he has like a neck tattoo of the arrow on his neck.
Yeah, or like the arrow is like sort of jammed into there or something. Yeah. And so this whole sequence at the end was really interesting to me, and I'm very curious about it because like...
Dude, I watched the first 5 minutes of the next episode, and I was like, they're not going to tell us, are they?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, because like...
It was only 5 minutes.
He says something like, all right, this is my last chance to like defeat
This
Diavolo.
is my last stand.
Yeah, this is my last stand. And then he uses the arrow on his own stand, and I was like, does using the arrow on your own stand like separate it from your body or something? Or because like My theory is that the thing that is walking away from Diavolo at the end there, the only thing that could have gotten up there in this time would have been like some reincarnation of the silver chariot stand. Like he used the arrow on it and sort of was like reborn like anew or something. But then if he's dead, is it tied to him? Is it like his soul is in it or something? I don't know.
Well, didn't he say like, are you afraid to fight yourself? So like maybe somehow.
Well, I was looking at
like two versions of the same person somehow, and like that's why he was able to come back, because we know that obviously he's been reborn. So
yeah, I was trying to figure out the character design. He has some very unique features on him. Like he has these odd shoulder pads, which looked familiar to me, but I couldn't figure them out. They maybe they were kind of like silver chariots, but he was wearing the hat that what's his name always wore, the grandpa.
Oh, Josuke? Or wait, no, not Josuke. Jonathan Joestar?
Yeah, I think it's Jonathan. Yeah. So like I don't know it was really confusing to me. Yeah, we have no idea. It's all speculation at this point.
Yeah, it's all speculation, but it is really curious. And they did say at some point, either this episode or last episode, like understanding how the arrow works is the way to defeat Diavolo. So I'm sure it'll all be revealed eventually, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well,
and
like they fucking have revealed how he became a zombie. No, they're not. We're just gonna be in the dark forever.
Well, Polnareff also said he couldn't handle the power of the arrow anymore. So,
oh yeah, that's true.
That could lead to something else. But we'll find out.
Certain things just aren't that important. You don't have to worry your pretty little head about it.
I guess.
All right, let's move on. Next episode. I really liked this episode of Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. Episode 9, the Temari Demon and the Arrow Demon. So yeah, this episode begins with the fight with these two demons.
I'll say the Temari Demon's pretty hot until she grows those extra arms. And I was kind of like,
yeah. Turns into Goro. Yeah. So I want to take a second to talk.
The idea for having more hands doesn't make it even better.
I mean,
now she can do even more things, Leo.
She seemed a little too young for me. That's all I'm saying.
I just thought she was hot because she's fit as fuck. But
she is really cute. Especially when she throws off her cloak halfway through the fight.
Especially when she's just has the bloodlust of 1,000 suns and is just cackling maniacally. I mean, how cute is that?
That's my kind of girl.
I know. It's like, come on.
So, Temari, which is what this demon girl is named for, this is like a craft that began in China but was introduced to Japan in the 7th century AD. Temari basically means handball in Japanese, but they're traditionally these embroidered things from pieces of old kimonos, and they got used as children's toys originally. But then most Japanese art forms, it became a huge competition to see who could create the most beautiful, perfect Temari. And it takes a lot of training now to be recognized as a Temari craftsman and stuff. So those are the balls.
So is it kind of like the Elizabethan dolls that were really like that, where you would never play with one?
Well, these are meant to be played with originally, but now, yeah, exactly. If they're originally were meant to be played with, but then they became so valuable that you never touch them. That's kind of how these are.
Yeah. Like have you ever seen those Elizabethan dolls where they're so highly crafted that of course you'd never let a child touch it.
Right.
But what's the point of having this child's toy that no child will ever touch?
So with all that said, this demon girl is using 2 of these Temari to throw through the thin wood walls of Tamayo's house and attack everyone. And we find out the arrow demon's name is Yaiba, and the Temari demon's name is Susamaru. So Yaiba is particularly sensitive to the dust being created by the Temari, and he's getting annoyed that it's splattering all over his kimono, and even though he can't see, he can sense the house and everyone within it, we find out. Susamaru throws a particular
telekinesis. It's telefucking kinesis.
Well, yeah, basically, yeah.
Say it, okay?
Susumaru throws this like particularly nasty set of temari, which like curve and ricochet all over the main room in the house, and like one just takes like a complete 90-degree left turn, which shouldn't be possible physically, and it just takes Yushiro's head clean off. That's like the boy who's like in love with Tamayo, who lives with her,
like a mosquito pop or something. Like,
and so Tanjiro has Nezuko take like the woman who they had sleeping in the back room down to the basement to like protect her, and Tamayo asked him to do this, and so then Tanjiro is left alone to begin to fight Susumaru, who he realizes her scent, like her demon scent, is like way thicker than anyone he's encountered before, which means she's stronger. And he also uses this new water breathing technique, like a thrusting attack called Drop Ripple Thrust Curve, to pierce through one of the Temari balls. But like when he pierces through it, it just flies right off his sword. Like it didn't do anything.
Drop Ripple Thrust Curve is the name of your sex tape.
I don't mind that. It's pretty unique, honestly.
This joke will never get old. We'll be saying this. We should release a series for every one of these. We have to make a new sex tape.
That's gonna have some good Google SEO. Like Drop Ripple Thrust Curve.
If anybody's wondering, that's specifically from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is a hilarious show. So yeah.
Speaking of Yushiro, his head just starts to grow back because, you know, he's a demon and all. And like as soon as he's grown back, like his mouth, he doesn't even wait for his full head. He starts talking to Tamayo about how like, I warned you that my blindfold technique wouldn't be able to hide the house from Muzan Kibutsuji if there are too many people inside, like who they could smell, basically. So Yushiro is like super pissed, and once he gets his full head back, he's ready to battle. And so Susumaru, like I said, throws off the top of her cloak to reveal like a sports bra and like jacked arms, and tells them they should be honored to be defeated by one of the 12 demon moons, who are like Kibutsuji's closest servants.
Is it?
Yeah.
Bcom, are you attracted to women in sports bras as much as I am? There's something like hot about that. I don't know why.
Not necessarily. Like, I don't think like there's anything in particular about a sports bra that's like super attractive, but like typically
maybe it's all the extra skin. I don't know.
Like I'm attracted to women wearing all sorts of clothes. I don't know.
I am too, but that one for whatever reason stands out a little bit. Just like seeing a nice fit girl just a sports bra, it's just like, damn.
Yeah. So now you know how to get Leo girls out there. Just
wear a fucking sports bra. He'll be all for it.
So yeah, like we said, she sprouts like 4 more arms for a total of 6. And so avoiding 6 of the Temari balls can be really tough for Tanjiro. It's also tough for the animators, who they actually used a CGI model of him briefly during this fight to like show everything that was happening in the room. And honestly, it looked pretty good because like it would take like a trained eye to kind of spot it, because it's like mixed in with some really fantastic animation of him like jumping around the room, and it's just they use it for like a brief like 5 or 10 second cut as the balls are flying around, which would have been ridiculously hard to animate otherwise. So
yeah, give him the pass for now.
Yeah. And Tanjiro can smell the scent of the Temari because it's like slightly different from the demons, but it's still not enough. And then Yushiro's like, all right, you idiot. And he like throws like a talisman at Tanjiro's head, and it gifts him his sense of sight. And then Tanjiro can see what's actually happening. The arrow demon is directing the Temari with his arrows. Like he's like sending them every which way with the control of his arrows. And so that's the key to stopping them. And so Nezuko reemerges from the basement, and she and Tanjiro like run outside. And he orders her to attack the arrow demon in the trees. And when Nezuko kicks him a few times, the arrows like disappear from Tanjiro's sight, and he's able to finally like attack all of the Temari with this like flowing dance move, and also cut off all of 6 of Susumaru's arms. And like the animation, this whole sequence as he's running from the arrow Temari up the side of the house and like cutting through everything is just freaking awesome. Like it's like, man, Ufotable is like doing an incredible job animating this at this point.
Everything about this anime is just so fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the colors of everything, like the water blade attacks are just so great in comparison to like, and just like the way that the girls, the Temari demon's hair like pops and everything, and like the blood.
The water attacks, that's cell shading, right?
It seems like it is. At least it's like very heavily like has heavy black lines on the outside of it. It almost looks like like a Borderlands thing invading
Borderlands or what was that one Zelda?
Wind Waker.
Yeah, both of those came to mind whenever I see that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so Tanjiro's next priority is to extract blood from these demons, since they're very closely related to Muzan. And that's what Tamayo said would help discover potentially like a cure to turn demons back into humans. And so at this point in the episode, I give him the break. There's like some waffling around to like pad the episode out, but like they've done so much amazing animation up to this point that I'm like, all right, that's cool. We can chill for a second and figure out what happens next. And so Susumaru grows her arms back because she's a powerful demon. She can grow them back quickly. And then like Yushiro and Tamayo decide like they'll attack her with Nezuko, and then Tanjiro will take on the Arrow Demon. Nezuko also pictures Tamayo and Yushiro looking like her dead mother and little brother, which may or may not have something to do with her hypnotization, but makes her want to fight more fiercely.
Hypnotization? Is that a word?
I think it is. Like when you've been hypnotized. Not I created it.
How do you spell this? I'm going to Google this.
Google has like a defined hypnotization. It would be like
hypnotism.
Yeah, her hypnotism.
With her hypnotism.
Yeah. It's possible, yeah. Tanjiro runs at Yaiba and even says an opening he says like an opening thread directing his blade to the demon's throat is there. But
okay, it's a hypnotization.
Yeah.
Okay. To put in a state of hypnosis.
Why wouldn't it be hypnotism? That sounds so much fucking better.
You guys are so upset that I'm right.
What a haughty bitch. Look at Bcom.
So, yeah, Yahaba's arrow powers are really impressive, though. Like, he basically throws an arrow, like, underneath Tanjiro's feet as he's being charged at, which slides him away just enough that his strike doesn't reach him. And then, like, he uses a bunch more to just, like, basically toss him around the yard. Like, I was thinking of, like, the Harry Potter movie where he gets thrown around on a cursed broomstick, like, every which way. Because that's basically what was happening to Tanjiro. Like, especially if you couldn't see the arrows, you would just look like he's a fucking idiot. Like, flying back and forth through the sky, ramming into trees. And so Yushiro is able to make himself invisible. That's part of his blindfold power, which allows him to land some hits on Susumaru, and then he like yells at her for hurting Tamayo, his beloved. And then the Arrow Demon realizes this must be Tamayo the Fugitive, who will be a really good souvenir to bring back to Muzan, so they fight even harder. But so Nezuko tries to kick one of the temari back at Susumaru, and that was a bad idea because her leg just gets cut off at the knee.
Yeah.
And I like this, though, because Susumaru made a joke. She's like, oh, I also like kemari. And I was like, all right, what the fuck is kemari? So kemari is this Japanese game similar to juggling a soccer ball. It's like an ancient Japanese game. Which if you look it up on YouTube, I was telling Leo this yesterday, like, it's you find some like Japanese men in like traditional clothing trying to juggle soccer balls and being really bad at it.
Yep.
Oh, very nice.
Very entertaining sport, but anyway, that's what her joke was about. Like, because like Nezuko tries to kick this and cuts her leg off.
Explodes her leg off.
Explodes, yeah, basically, yeah. And so Tamayo like quickly tries to inject Nezuko with some medicine to help heal her leg back. And then Tanjiro is like, I gotta think of a way to get a hit in on this damn Arrow Demon. And even he himself like stops to think like, but I'm really creeped out by those eyeballs on his hands. But he figures it out eventually. He uses like a mixture of like 3 of his water breathing techniques all at once to like envelop the arrows in water and like so they can't reach him, and then like use his footwork to get close to Yaiba and then slice through his neck. And like as the credits roll, and like it's a pretty badass slice because like you see like the dude's eye like starting to fly out of his socket and shit. Like it's pretty good.
It also wasn't clear if it was like a complete decapitation either.
Yeah, it was I don't know. It was pretty bad, though. He'll be out of commission for a little bit, I think. So enough to probably fight the other girl and defeat her. Man, that was an action-packed episode, though. And
I want to say from previews, I think it's Nezuko who actually ends up going up against her.
Oh, that makes sense.
I've seen some screenshots. I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe Nezuko will actually do something useful. Woo!
Oh, Jesus.
No, the action in this episode was great. It was so gorgeously directed, and like it had so much weight to it. And I just thought that both of these enemies were like really interesting. Like things that like you've probably seen in other like anime like Naruto or something before, but I hadn't seen something this cool for a while. Like this was just like a really well thought out combination of villains. Like this girl who could throw these like balls all over the place, and this guy who is blind but can sense everything and can send those balls exactly where they need to go.
They're totally made up to be a team for sure.
It's a great team, and it's like hard to defeat them. Of course, at this point, like I'm starting to think that Tanjiro is a little bit of a Gary Stu. Like he could just do anything. To be fair, he did like train for like a year to cut a boulder and whatever. But
a year,
yeah. I don't know, but he is. It seems like he always comes up like a new water-breathing form to defeat whatever is in his way. And
I don't think they're new. I think they're just ones he knows. He just hasn't done them yet.
True. Yeah. They never like sat down and told us like, here's all the water-breathing forms.
35 or something. So we don't know what number there is as of yet, I guess.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. Anything else about this episode?
That is it.
Oh, I think we're good for now.
Okay.
Can we talk about some other demons?
Kept staring. I really just kept staring and be like, "Ooh, that was pretty," and that was pretty too.
I agree.
That's really.
It was a really pretty episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dororo, episode 21, the story of breaking the cycle of suffering.
Sounds good.
And all I could think when I heard this breaking the cycle is like, breaking the habit.
Oh my god, no. I haven't heard that song in so long.
It is now in your head.
It's gonna be stuck so far in your skull, you'll never get it out. Never. But yeah, so Yakimaru continues his journey to get his body back. They see Asakura scouts coming from Daigo's land, and Yakimaru's like, my body is there, and like follows. And in Daigo's land, more villages are being affected by this epidemic, and they're burning the villages because they just are like, well, we don't want it to spread. And at the same time, the Asakura clan has gathered around 2,000 soldiers, and they're going to be attacking soon. Mm-hmm. So, of course, and Daigo's people are like, we need more soldiers to defend this. And so they keep going to all the villages that aren't being taken by the epidemic, rounding up all of the able-bodied men, taking all of the horses, and just leaving. And, like, of course, the women are like, we can't do this all by ourselves. We can't protect ourselves from raids. Mm-hmm. And, like, you're basically stealing all of the things that make them money and then leaving them without protection.
Yep. It's a pretty shitty situation to have to deal with that. Yeah.
Like the horse where the guy's like, but that's the way we make our money. That horse is our breadwinner.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's legit how it used to work back in the old time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Like you had your livestock or your horses or whatever you bred. And he's like, we're taking it. And like, oh, I felt so bad. Like, because it just had like a little foal and they're just pulling it away. And I'm like, no! But yeah, so the father and son learn that Hyakimaru is coming. And Daigo kind of sends his son out and is like, go get Hyakimaru, you know. And Dororo asked Hyakimaru as he's on his way down the road, like, what will you do if your mom and dad show up? And he's like, I'll kill them
if they get in the way.
Yeah, if they stop you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Dororo points out, like, well, then you can never be with them. And Yakimaru says he has Dororo. And like, okay, first off, that's a shit ton to put on a very young child.
Yeah, it really is.
That's a lot. That's shitty.
They have been journeying around though. Like they have this bond, so like I think Dororo understands it's like we are connected like that, but That's still a lot. Yeah, I agree.
It's still a lot. And also, like, when was Yakimaru ever with his family? In what universe were they just gonna have, like, a family dinner?
Like, I mean, I could see his mother taking him back, potentially,
no.
but...
Okay, what a fucking awkward family dinner that would be. Hey, this is Daigo, the father that decided to sacrifice you to the demons. This is your brother that we used to replace you. Like, let's all have a peaceful meal. No, but also, that's never gonna fucking happen.
It's not gonna happen. You're totally right. But this is also coming from Dororo, who has lost both of his parents. Or sorry, her parents. God, I'm still confusing that. It's annoying.
I know, it's hard.
And
oh Jesus,
you know, she's knows the importance of if you still have your parents, like you should at least try to reconnect. And so she's upset that Yakimaru can't do that or can't bring himself to.
He's never had them though.
Yeah, I know he's never had them, but like there's still the possibility, and Dororo sees that and wants to try to send him down that path if there's any possible way, which there might not be. So
yeah. And meanwhile, those two are they brothers? Because I can't tell if they're brothers or if one is a sister.
Yeah,
brother
Mutsu
and sister.
Is a sister, a girl. Yeah, that was like pretty much confirmed this episode. I thought at one point where
they're very like ambiguous about it. And after Dororo,
wait. You guys had problems wondering if she was a girl or not?
No, I always thought she was a girl, but then like it was never officially really confirmed.
But there's a lot of girly boys in anime, like pretty boys. And after Dororo, like it's a little.
Well, Kat, we know your track record with knowing if a character.
Fuck off, Leo. Fuck off.
If you want to know that track record, you can go listen to Eurocamp episode. What's it, like 8 or something? Something around there. 7 or 8.
Anyway, the two like siblings, whatever the fuck they have under their pants, see all the misery.
I did look it up on the Dororo wiki that Mutsu is a woman, so they have that.
And the brother wonders like how many will die again, and like just like before, and you see this flashback of their mom being killed and like them being rounded up, and like the brother says he hates wars, and the sister's like, well, we must defeat Yakimaru so the war stops, and you see that the sister has some kind of rash on her neck, and I don't really know.
She's getting the plague.
Yeah, there's like this epidemic going around, so I assume she has it, which I don't know if that means that Hyogo and Tahomaru are definitely in danger now.
Obviously, I feel like she knows she has that. Why is she hanging the fuck around them then?
Maybe she doesn't fully realize what's happening yet, but as soon as she does,
really wants to help him defeat Yakimaru.
She really wants to help him by infecting him with a deadly disease.
Oh man.
Anyway, Yakimaru and Tahomaru's mom comment that both children are like kids who are screaming to have their toy back. Yeah. And that Tahomaru has become
I think she's on to something.
Incarnation.
I just want to say, like, your body's a little bit more important than like a toy. Like,
yeah, but I mean, I do see what she's trying to say, but like, yeah. And Tahomaru has become like an incarnation of Asura for the sake of her husband, which is interesting.
Asura's wrath, yeah.
Yeah. And then on their way, Yakimaru is warned by this dude that they should turn back. Like, he's going the other way, and he's like, there's going to be a war with Asura soon. And Yakimaru just basically takes his blade out and threatens this guy. And it's pretty clear at this point that he's changed. Like, because he'd never do that before. This guy offered no threat to him.
Yeah.
Just was saying, hey, it's dangerous, and he does this.
Yeah, he's just in this state of mind where if anybody gets in my way at this point, I'm not taking any shit anymore. I'm getting my body back. This is it.
Yeah, and Dororo is pretty frightened because Yakimaru she feels has become someone else. And she's like, I'm no longer going to go with you. And Yakimaru, like, it's just like, all I want is to be me, to like see with my own eyes and feel with my own hands.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you can't say you don't understand, but at the same time, it's almost like he's losing himself to be himself. And you see, like, you see that, like, Daigo saved those two servants from a jail when they were kids. You see another flashback. And they attacked him scared, and he helped them, and he was very kind and, like, took him into his home. And it's the first time we've really seen that he has a good side as well.
I mean, it was
that was
and it was for the
interesting.
benefit of his son, but like still,
I mean,
you know,
but do you really think at that moment he was like, "This will benefit my son"?
probably
I don't
not.
think so.
Probably not that.
Like, I don't think he would see that far ahead. So I think it must mean that he has some kindness in him as well. And it just goes to show that like any kindness in someone, it can be twisted. Because I'm sure when he began this journey, he rationalized to himself that he was saving his land by doing this, right? But then it became twisted into his own selfishness as well. You know?
Yeah.
So everyone's human. We all can be sympathetic people, even if we do shitty things, I guess. I liked that. I liked that they showed that he had a good side. The Asura army advances, and Hyakimaru and Dororo come across this gap that they can't cross. And I guess they've made it on purpose, kind of.
Mhm.
Like they dug it out. Somehow, I don't know how the fuck they would do that in ancient times, though.
To do
Who
what?
knows? Like make that gap appear. Maybe they just, I don't know, because it seemed pretty intentional. That gap being there, it seems like a trap that they set.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they could have dug it out, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know, or maybe they just knew that gap was there and they were like, okay, we're gonna make this here.
Yeah. Use that as like a natural barrier. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tahomaru and his servants appear to attack Hyakimaru. And Hyakimaru sees that Tahomaru has no red in him at all. Like he's not demonic at all, and he still attacks.
Yep.
And he hurts the older brother servant and cuts Tahomaru near the eye again. Well, the younger brother, like the younger sister, I guess, fires an arrow with smoke like on it, and it makes all the smoke. And then when it clears, there's men on horseback who attack Hyakimaru as well.
Yeah, they
And
just
this
sort of
really-
show up out of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and you're not really sure. And this really upsets me because, like, the rider on one of the horses lights several bombs, like, on the horse.
Yeah.
And has it gallop towards Hyakimaru and jumps off. And then the sister, like, fires an arrow into the flank of the poor thing, too.
Well, that
To keep
causes
it
it to
running.
keep charging. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but how shitty can you be to this poor fucking horse? And it pushes Hyakimaru towards the cliff, and it's all scared. And then the bombs explode and kill the fucking horse and push Hyakimaru off the ledge.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, this fucking horse deserved none of this.
Yeah, I was pretty upset by all of that. That was really, especially like after we had seen that horse get taken from the stable earlier
I
in the
literally,
episode.
in my notes, I wrote revenge horse.
They're so setting it up, though, because you knew something was going to go down with that horse and they
Yeah.
kept focusing on it. And then they take Dororo and they're like, okay, we're going to hold him. We're going to leave. And Tahomaru's like, no, we have to finish Hyakimaru off. Like, I'm going to go down the cliff and kill him. The man who came on the horse tranks Tahomaru, actually, and carries him away and takes Dororo with him, too. And I thought that was really weird. Like, I get they don't want Tahomaru to die, but why would one of them not go down and be like, let's make sure he's dead? Like, why would they do that?
It's a big cliff, you know? Who wants to do that, really?
But, like, come on. It's like the sake of their whole land is at stake.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, that's what
It's
Tahomaru's
not
trying to
that
say,
hard.
you know? Yeah.
It's not that hard to make a rope and go down there and just be like, okay, he's dead. Or like, nope, he's not dead, but he's unconscious. Let me cut his throat. Like, it's not that hard.
Diavolo made the same mistake also with Polnareff. So
I guess.
True.
But yeah, so they do the stupid thing and they go away. I noticed both siblings had an arm cut off of them, which is
So
interesting.
there was an earlier conversation when Mutsu was talking to Tahomaru about how she is the right hand and Hyogo is the left hand for him, and
Yeah.
those are the exact arms that get cut off for both of them. So
Yeah.
I was just like, it's a little on the nose, but sure, whatever.
It's kind of cool.
I
Yeah.
wondered about that. I was like, interesting. And the guy that came on the horse like shames them. I guess he's one of Daigo's men. Shames them for being saved by Tahomaru and not saving him. And I'm just like, listen, they're human. Like, fucking calm your shit. Hyakimaru wakes up in a trench and the horse becomes this demon horse that's actually really pretty and reminds me of that Pokemon.
Oh,
Pione.
yeah.
Yeah, the one with the fire mane.
Yeah, Piona or something like that.
Wait, is that it?
Ponyta? Or is that the younger version?
I think it's Ponyta, or maybe. Yeah, it's Ponyta. It is Ponyta.
Okay, I was close.
Or if it's Rapidash, it's like something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but Ponyta, the evil demon, has come for them. So.
That's pretty cool. I'm
Come on,
excited.
who doesn't want to ride a flaming horse into battle?
And like, it's not.
You may be burned alive.
Yeah, it's not just that though.
I don't know.
It looks like, I don't know if some person is helping Hyakkimaru or if it's just the demons are on his side, because like there's like some samurai armor that gets thrown down at the end there too that is like glowing as if it's like demonically possessed. And it's like, okay, Hyakkimaru's gonna show up with like demon samurai armor and like a demon horse Ponyta Pokemon thing next episode. That's gonna be sick. Can't wait for that.
Pokemon.
Gotta kill them all.
Shit. And that just matches this anime so well, too, because he has to kill all the fucking demons to get his body back.
You
gotta get his arms
go,
back.
Hyakkimaru, you go.
Dororo, gotta kill them all.
Oh, man.
And then they do that transition.
Destiny.
What's that demon? There's the outline.
If I kill
Instead
you,
of like
then
cheerful
I can't
walking.
see.
Instead of cheerful walking, it just splatters of blood across the screen.
So that seems like it's going to be hype, though. I'm pretty hyped up for Demon Horse Hyakkimaru to come for the end game of this anime against the Daigo house. Mm-hmm. But then I feel like the Asakura army is just going to wipe everyone out anyway. So I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. Hopefully Dororo makes it out alive. I'll be pissed if she doesn't.
And you know the wrath of Bcom is all-knowing.
Oh yeah, that's like a point lower right there. Easy. All right. Anything else before we take a break?
No, let's take a break and then find out what is in that fucking basement.
Yeah, what's in that basement? Come back to find out.
What's in the fucking basement? Okay, anyway. I'll see you in a minute after you hear from
Just make this break extra long, Bcom, so they're like, have to wait even longer to figure it out. No, they've probably seen it, but still.
Perfect. I will make an extra long commercial break. We'll be back.
Later.
The Trash Pandas bring you this nugget from another trash can. What happens when Brains and Bullets discuss episode 2 of One Punch Man?
Pretty much gene splicing heads. They will
Yep.
Yeah, they will splice genes. They have a cyborg gorilla. They have frog that walks on two legs and communicates at long range. Like they got, you think it? They splice
The Lion King.
Yeah, they have the lion. They have a f***ing lion, beast king, and
Simba.
yeah, he's f***ing Simba. I don't mean he's f***ing Simba. I mean he's f***ing Simba.
We at Trash Pandas Watch Anime dig through the trash so you don't have to. You can find the Trash Pandas Watch Anime podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter where you'll get live updates from what we do.
Hi, I'm JD, your host of the Red Leaf Retrocast, your best location to learn, remember, and relive the past to the present. Our podcast has 4 shows for you to listen to between retro gaming, modern gaming, anime, and even wrestling. The Retro Gaming Cast covers discussion topics, and each episode we discuss retro games picked based on a decided theme for that episode, ranging from space all the way to console specials like the old handheld Game Boy. Our Modern Gaming Cast is monthly and covers video game titles that were released in that previous month. Each anime cast, we focus to review a retro anime each and every episode, like the original Mobile Suit Gundam to the racing hit Initial D. But that's not all. We also keep up with the seasonal shows, by occasionally doing impressions and reviews as well. Finally, our last show is about wrestling, where we keep the rising indie scene up to date, while also covering shows from the bigger promotions like Ring of Honor, New Japan, and WWE, so we cover it all. We also cover a retired wrestler every episode in what we call the Wrestler Spotlight. and are currently on a quest covering old WCW Thunder episodes from the late 90s. Every cast. So if any one of those casts sound like something you'd like to check out, that's the Red Leaf Retrocast, Gaming, Anime, and Wrestling, found at iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and all your favorite podcasting sites. Also, you can learn, remember, and relive the past to the present. We can't wait to see you soon.
Put your hands in the air. Wave them like you don't care.
What song is that?
I don't fucking know. And with that, DJ Cat is back on the mic.
Oh, God.
Take it here with me is Leo to talk about the fucking
the
Attack on
worst
Titan.
party I've ever been to.
It's okay, guys. We're going to talk about some Attack on Titan Season 3, Part 2, and we're going to find out finally what's in the basement, but don't worry. We're going to drag it out for you.
No, we're not really going to. Not this fucking episode. They're just gonna.
If you notice how short my synopsis is, because it's a lot easier when you can cut out a little over than 5 minutes and just say flashbacks and shots of destroyed towns and just sum up that whole 5 minutes.
And Armin's abs.
Yeah, Armin
He
can get
does
jacked
have
this episode.
weird fucking abs. I'm like, Armin should not have abs. What
All
the
right.
fuck?
Episode 56, The Basement.
Dun, dun, dun.
So it starts off with Armin having like a weird dream where he sees like the colossal titan crying and like wakes up on the wall next to like an injured Sasha.
So
Aaron-
here's first question I have. First question. Let's stall this out a little bit.
Jesus Christ, I haven't even done I did one sentence so far.
So he wakes up and he says Bertholtz. And my question was that actually like Bertholtz piece of the colossal titan that was crying, or was that Armin seeing Bertholt's memories of seeing the initial colossal titan before Bertholdt ever got the power?
I
And
think
I was
it's
like, I don't
all a weird
I didn't get that last part at all.
mishmash of like him seeing it from Bertholdt's point of view before Bertholdt died, and like
Okay.
his point of view eating Bertholdt.
I think that makes more sense because like I don't.
Yeah. Considering how crazy dreams get, when I see dream shit, I usually just fucking whatever it does, I just let it pass because dreams are fucking they're sometimes can be just complete nonsense.
That's
Well,
true.
because I mean, if you think about it, he's got these 2 points of view from the same thing, so it's probably very strange because one person
Yeah.
usually would not have two points of view of the same thing.
Oh, like that dream anime we covered, Bcom, that was fucking batshit. Something
Dream
8.
anime. Oh, 18 if?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
what an
fucking-
anime.
Oh,
What a
that
show.
fucking
Check
thing.
that out if you have the time.
Don't do it. Don't.
We covered it, Kat. You weren't on them with us
I
yet.
know.
every
but
episode.
Don't. I tried watching that shit. Don't do
I don't know.
it.
There's
No.
legitimately some good episodes in there. Like, there's
Yeah.
also
There's
some
also
bad
some-
ones.
Fucking bullshit episodes that don't deserve to.
Okay.
breathe.
We're talking about Attack
Anyway.
on Titan. We'll come back. Okay. So Aaron immediately rushes over and hugs him. And then Levi shows up and launches like a green flare, signaling to everybody that Armin is awake, and tells Aaron to tell Armin everything that happened. And all he remembers at the moment is the Colossal Titan landing, and then nothing after that. So Armin, for his street cred, takes it fairly well now that he is a fucking Titan. And, he also ate Bertholdt. That
It
too.
also, dying has done amazing things for his, like, complexion. Like, he's looking good this episode. He's, like, looking fresh, newborn Armin. Looks real good.
Yeah. So there are also only 9 of them left from all the scouts. So that's
Yeah,
that's a big death toll there.
that's pretty
Uh,
bad.
Armin even takes the news, I guess, decently well for that he will be Erwin's successor, basically. And
It's a lot of pressure to put on someone. I just think it hasn't
Yeah.
come over him yet.
like he gets sick about hearing about eating Bertholdt, and then like I'm like, if that's it, you're doing pretty good, boy.
And he's like, why did you pick me? And so like they have to like reiterate like what went down and why Levi chose him instead of
Yeah.
Erwin.
I kind of wondered when he started to get sick, like if he vomits enough, like will he vomit up accidentally Bertholdt and then he won't be a Titan?
He's been asleep for a while. He's probably digested it
I
by
mean,
now.
but like what would happen? Like would he Would it just be
Well-
a tiny person, like a tiny little person?
Yeah, it'll be a Attack on Titan junior high chibi version of Berthold. It'll be like, "Hi guys."
Would he stay like alive, but just not be a Titan
I
holder?
actually just read an article today about how long it would take for a Lego piece to pass through your body, and it was like a day 0.47. So, given him 5 hours, I'd say he's probably too deep to be puked back up. So.
But what if you let the person transform back into person, like a regular person, after they've eaten a Titan? Then you just slap them awake and make them vomit immediately. Would you have a mini person and a human that didn't die?
Yeah. I don't know. But I felt like Kat, I could feel you rejoicing at the news that you may never have to mix up Armin and Erwin's names again.
Yes, I'm so done. And honestly, do you think that the reason they made Armin and Erwin's names so similar is because like they're supposed to be?
This is so
Maybe.
deep into the manga, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, they
This would've
are
been
both like
something-
leaders. Yeah.
This would have been a weird thing that they like thought about that far ahead.
I don't know.
It was also
Good
kind of
question.
funny when Sasha told him to shut up in her sleep.
Yeah, and like Han just like, "Yeah, you can't defeat Sasha." It's so good.
Okay, so this is when we get an agonizing 3 minutes and 40 seconds of flashbacks
You counted. Oh yeah.
and shots of the destroyed town before they
Well, okay.
finally make it to
Be-
Aaron's
be
house.
fair.
And we're not done.
They
Oh, God.
also play dramatic music that has like a woman going ah in it
Right?
the
Yeah.
entire time. Like
Yeah,
like you
and then
do.
just like flashbacks and like it's I know it's supposed to get us like sentimental and stuff, but I was just sitting here like I fucking remember this, okay? Just
It's like,
get
we
to the
know it was
goddamn
sad.
basement.
Let's see what's in the fucking basement. Okay? We know. That's all I'm saying.
I have a hard time believing that Mikasa actually has like any feelings about this stuff at all. Like she's got like such like ice water in her veins that like when she's like looking at the little fruit basket like that Aaron has stopped to look at, I doubt she actually feels anything.
Yeah.
Do you think her real thought process is like, oh, Aaron cares about this. I should act like I care
I should
about
act like I care. Yeah, exactly.
So we are not done yet. We literally get another 2 minutes of them unbearing the door.
What was that with them picking up the plates? It's like, I guess this is our plates. I guess I should
The
take
plates
these.
in the cups, and I'm like, why are they gathering? Is there a
what the
plate
fuck?
shortage? I don't know.
Like, if I'm like one of the other scouts, I'm like, guys, what the fuck are you doing right now? Find the door to the basement.
So they finally uncover it. They go downstairs. They find out the key doesn't fit. And then Levi just personifies everybody watching this and says, fuck it, and kicks down the goddamn door.
Yeah, he's
Levi
like,
likes kicking doors.
I do not have enough life to live to do this shit, is what Levi says.
Levi's like, do you know what I just did? I killed like 35 Titans out there, all right? And then I had to
And
make
not
a decision.
just weakling titans, like the
yeah.
above standard type titans.
Yeah, and then I had to like make a decision to like kill my commander. And now you're like, oh, the lock is really tough, Levi. Fuck that. Kick the door down.
He's like, this is the easiest decision I've made all fucking day.
Yeah, exactly.
So they get inside and they look around and they comment that it just looks like a regular doctor study. So they begin searching around, and I felt like they were like in one of those lock rooms. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, escape the room type
Escape
things.
rooms,
Yeah.
yes. But Mikasa eventually finds like a keyhole inside the desk. Of course, the key now works on this, and Aaron freaks out because when they open it, there's nothing inside this drawer.
For a moment, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
So you fell for it? I was
Like just
No,
for
no,
a
no.
moment, I was like, are you shitting me? There's nothing in this fucking
no.
drawer.
I was not like that at all. They opened it, it was empty, and I just like went, and
Everybody just like turns to look at the
love how
screen.
Levi is just like, listen, bitches, I'm not having it. And he just keeps coming in and fixing the
dude, I
problem.
totally
Like,
lived through
first with
Levi
the
this whole
door,
episode. I
First
was
with
like,
the door,
God
and then he's like, get out of the fucking way. It's a false bottom.
Yeah,
Like,
he's like literally like, you dumbasses. This is a false bottom. So he pulls it out, and inside they find 3 books. But we don't know what they are because the show's gonna draw it out some more.
oh, no, I love how they're like, oh, this is what it was. And then they're like, and then cut away. And you're like, what the fuck was in the books? You bitch! This is what we've been waiting for 3 seasons, 4 seasons. Let's not talk about it.
Oh,
Let's
we forgot
do
to make the
something
4
else.
seasons joke. Thanks. We fit it in there. Good.
Yeah, let's do fucking something else. Because God knows we all aren't waiting on tenterhooks. Like, what the fuck is it?
So what the show does is it cuts to some of the commanders back at home base. I forget the name of the damn town. Whatever.
Oh, fuck if I know. I can't remember.
And they're talking about how Erwin always thought there might be more people outside the walls and that the history books might be lying. And they're like, oh, we'll ask Erwin when he gets back. We're like, you're not, so don't worry about that. That's when they get interrupted by soldiers saying that the scouts are back and that they retook Wall Maria. And the scouts are then shown overlooking towns. Everybody's like celebrating. There's like more confetti than that damn parade every year.
They would not have that much fucking confetti. Just FYI.
It was intense.
They would not. But I will say it was a good moment, them celebrating, because it did give you kind of a sense of weight of what they had done for society as a whole.
But then I sat there going, you guys are celebrating, but only fucking 9 people made it back.
Well, but think about like that whole area. They can now move people back into it, and like people won't have to starve. Because remember, wasn't it like 30% of humanity was going to starve?
Yeah, but the amount of lives sacrificed to do it was like fucking astronomical.
It was huge, but I bet it wasn't 30% of the population. So they've done a great service.
Yeah, but like 90% is actually low percent of the scouts fighting force, like just fucking gone. What the fuck?
I'll just say, if they don't get a fucking amazing memorial in Wall Maria, that's like, these fucking bitches, they're the real MVP. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Then they got cheated.
Yeah, so like all the scouts went, right? So like there's literally 9 left. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did any of the scout
I don't
regiment
think there's
stay
any
behind?
others that stayed behind. I don't think so.
Yeah, I felt like that was all of them. So literally there's 9 people left out of that whole regiment.
Yeah.
A fucking regiment. Whoa.
They should have a huge monument to them. I mean, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, it's just a giant dick.
Yeah.
That also,
Why would it be a giant dick, Leo?
Just how badass they were, I don't know.
oh man, I've been thinking about that too, and like I was just not the giant dick about them not having anybody
And
left.
Bcom's really just been thinking about giant dicks recently.
Honestly, no, because like if they only have 9 of them left, and they're the ones who basically just like took power back, and put Historia in like the queen's seat, basically. Now that there's only 9 of them, they're very vulnerable to another takeover of power. So I'm not sure if that's something that's going to happen, but they
got Commander
likely
Pixie.
could.
They have Commander Pixie on their side, so that's...
Pixis. Yeah.
Pixis,
Yeah.
not Pixie. He's not a like 2 foot,
But it's spelled out as Pixie. He's fucking Pixie. I don't give a shit. He's still a badass.
Oh my god.
His name's Commander Pixie, but he slaughtered 50 soldiers. I'm still like, he's still a badass. I don't give a shit.
I don't think that they will have trouble after being the heroes of humanity of getting new recruits. Let's put it that way.
Well, they're also literally the only 9 people left who know how to legitimate fight a Titan. So.
Oh, they need to like not fight and just teach a bunch of people.
And
for a
2
while.
of them are Titans now too. So I guess there's that.
Well, I guess I could transform and be like, all right, guys, try to fight me.
If
but
you really
don't-
want to do this.
don't actually kill me because this is a training exercise, but try to practice.
so
I want to see that so bad.
So then the show does jump back to them looking into the book, and they find a
But
picture of
before
like,
we get to that,
oh my god, what more can we talk about?
I'm just joking. Just go on. It's fine.
So they find a picture of a family, and Hanj comments that it's too good to be a drawing. Basically, they don't know what a fucking photograph is. They know some writing on the back, and it's Aaron's father. They recognize the writing, telling them what a photograph is and basically how it works. We know ourselves. And also that humanity hasn't perished, and he came from a town where people lived in elegance. So yeah, you go, And then after the credits scene,
Oh,
They
the
showed
after
Grisha.
credit scene just
Grisha
fucking
is-
teased it
which
so bad.
I actually had to relook up myself, is Aaron's father's name.
Yeah, Grisha.
As a young boy, and he's in man, how much more advanced would you say? There's airships. The buildings are definitely sturdier in that wood. They're like all brick and stuff. It was like
It seemed like mid
Like 100
1800s.
years.
Yeah.
Over.
definitely way better. And he says it all began when he grabbed his little sister Faye's hand and they ran past the guards and outside the walls.
It can't be that different though, because they also have those walls, so it'll be interesting. But like, they tease it so hard because you really want to see what the fuck happens next with this whole flashback, and they just leave you, and you're like, God damn it.
Okay, I have a very positive and negative about this. Positive, I want to learn about this outside world. Negative, I don't want to see fucking how Grisha really ended up over there. That doesn't matter to me. I want to see how our core group reacts to finding an outside world, how they react to what the fuck is this goddamn airship doing, and then how the Titans play out in all this.
Yeah, like if there is an outside world, how are there Titans existing? I mean, like, are the Titans not like threatening them as well? And I like one of the things that was interesting about Grisha's like little flashback at the end there is you saw that there were like military checkpoints in that city that they had to like run past.
They also had to wear armbands too.
Yeah, so is this like Nazi occupied like something or other in Europe, basically? I don't know, because that's like what it kind of reminded me of. And so like are like the Jews like the Titans shifters or something? Like, is this going to be like that much of a metaphor? Like, I don't know, we'll see. But I don't know. I was a little underwhelmed by what we found in the basement, I have to say. Though to be fair, they only showed us like the first page of one of the books that they found. I would have been like tearing through those books like immediately, but apparently
like,
not.
Yeah. I was
Motherfuckers.
underwhelmed also because I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, they're books that talk about an outside world and nothing. Damn it. So I learned there's something about the outside world. There is a civilization, which is great, but what? Why are we so
want
segregated?
to
What the
hear
fuck is going
more.
on?
I know. I hope the whole next
I demand
episode,
answers.
All I want is the next episode to be an entire flashback and for us to get a bunch of information.
Well, that's what
We
it seems
need
like
it.
it's going to be. I kind of want next episode to just be Armin sitting down and reading through all three of these books. Just telling me everything that's in them.
That would be fantastic.
No, that would be terrible. That's a terrible idea for a TV show. No, they'll show us a flashback of Grisha's past and how he came to be the way he is. And all that stuff. That'll be good. But yeah. Did we draw that out long enough, you think?
I don't know. You guys want to talk about the symbolism of the broken houses and the broken
God.
silverware and teddy bears and all the broken shit we saw?
I'm
No?
kind of surprised
Cool.
that the thing that's in the basement is just like a couple books. I'm just like,
Yeah.
eh.
Be more.
I thought it
I
had something
figured
cooler.
they'd
The
get,
third
like,
one's
a-
probably porn.
Titan
Probably.
porn? Was it Titan porn?
It's just like a bunch of pictures of Aaron's mom getting eaten by that Titan. It's like, when did these get taken? This is weird.
Shit.
All right, let's move on to the worst show of the season, One Punch Man Season 2.
Yeah, pretty much. I did say I was taking one for the team when I covered this. All right.
Yeah, I've just lost my patience at this point for the show. It's
The
gotten
troubles
to that
of
point.
the strongest. Saitama's being all heroic and shit, and like, I saved you. Look at me. And
Yeah.
and Suryo is like, they've gone from him being like, I'm a badass to like, I'm an adorable little raccoon. Look at my big eyes as they fill with tears. Which I don't understand the transition. Like, it's a little abrupt. I don't know if I'm really supposed to feel bad for him or if I'm just supposed to laugh at him. I don't know. I just didn't feel anything though because yeah. I don't care.
I don't know.
So
Oh, by the way, this episode also got delayed like a week, so we're like slightly ahead of other episodes we're covering with this one. Kind of like the same with Jojo, but just so you
Yeah.
guys know.
Not a
but-
big deal.
but yeah, the guy is first scared of Saitama since he like Saitama kicked his butt before. But eventually he's like, well, I'm a beast now, so you can't get me. And Saitama's like, oh, did I fight you? And then just like punches him once and whoops his butt.
Yep, that's what he does.
And then Saitama is then told by Sirio about the Monster Association for the first fucking time. Like, he had no idea anything was happening. And I'm just like, where have you been?
He's been fighting in a tournament.
I mean,
playing
the
video
Genos
games.
was there too, and he like, everyone else knows. Everyone else who was in the tournament knows. They all know what's going on.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, they do, because they all saw everything. I just feel like he's so oblivious. Like, I don't know.
I think he's kind of oblivious about things until they actually matter like, to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the guy was the same. So I guess the Genko guy, the guy that was the beast that Saitama just whooped, that was the same one who hurt Genos. It just shows you like once again the difference.
No, that was the other guy.
Goketsu?
No, it was Gonketsu or whatever is the one with that was the winner of the first tournament. That's the one.
No, the one who beat up Genos was the guy who came to the stadium and offered the demon things.
Oh yeah, and then he left. You're right.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was a different guy. You're right.
There's too many fucking deep villain.
I've only basically seen everything twice because I read it too. So.
It's almost like this villain didn't leave much of an impression on you because they suck as a character.
Yes. So I don't know. It's cute. At this point, Sirio is worried about Saitama because Saitama's like, I should go help, and Sirio's like, no, he'll die. But I was like, it's kind of cute, this whole scene, but I'm a little tired of the dramatics and the crying because at this point, Sirio has like cried for 10 minutes of this anime.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, are we really supposed to believe that this, anyway. I don't know. He's just like transformed into like a 5-year-old child that looks cute. And that just doesn't seem accurate to me. Sirio then is like, can I be your disciple Saitama? And I'm just like, no, like, stop. And then they have like a little slide shot of like the naked
Purry prisoner guy.
Yeah, stereotypical gay guy.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cute. I really liked the jiggling butt thing. That was cute. the like second of his butt just being like boing 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 boing, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, you remember him from season 1, right?
Yeah,
I remember him. Yeah.
It was fun.
Sure.
But yeah, then Saitama has like an existential crisis about why he wants to be a hero and like what the meaning of his journey is, and it just goes on and on. Like it's another 10 minutes of this show.
Bottom line is he forgot he never wanted to be a hero. He just wanted to be strong. So
he just keeps going on, and I'm like, what?
I couldn't help but to compare it to Mob Psycho, because like Mob in the second season was going through all of these things about who am I, what should I really be doing, who are my true friends.
Well, and same author, so
it is the same author. I just want to say,
yeah.
like, Mob Psycho was so much more interesting in every way than Saitama in One Punch Man season 2.
Well, I think they are different characters in that
Yeah.
I don't feel like Saitama would think this much about it. I could see Mob thinking that much about it, but Saitama
Mob
does
was
not.
also made after One Punch Man, so you gotta understand he's probably
he's improved
done
since.
better.
It's definitely like the better written series at this point, I feel.
I enjoy Saitama more as a character because I like the idea of him more, but I do think probably Mob Psycho is written a tad bit better.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And I did like how King comes up and he's like, I'm having this crisis. And King immediately thinks he's talking about his hair. And he's like, it might grow back. And there are treatments. It was cute. And then Saitama talks about his issues with King. And they just talk more. And I'm like, why are you talking about this with him? It just seems really out of place. And King suggests that he take like a trip or that he like get a hobby.
Yeah. Like ballroom dancing, like you said. Yeah, like if you need friends, just go to like a ballroom dancing class or something.
I did like the quote that King does, where he's like, "Life is a journey to nowhere," and I'm kind of like, yeah, but I don't know why you're giving him this advice, because it doesn't really seem like you have your shit together either. He says it's wrong to get satisfaction from fighting, and that you should get satisfaction from helping people, and I'm just like, why are you giving Saitama a pep talk? What is happening? I don't know. And then they're like, let's go play video games. And then they drop it. And then, I don't know, you find out that Garo was beaten by the dog dude.
Uh-huh.
Which, what the fuck is this shit? That man is like to me, that man just screams pervert. Who goes around in a dog costume on his hands and knees all day with his ass in the air? Why would you get beaten by him? He should be like so ashamed.
In the S class, like 3 or something?
It's pretty high up there, yeah.
He should be so ashamed. He was beaten by a man in a dog costume with his ass in the air. He should be ashamed of himself.
Watchdog Man, that's his name.
But Garo's getting home from getting his ass beat, apparently. I did like that they don't make the villain all powerful. That is refreshing, but it's also like, what the fuck? But
sure.
Garo sees King with Saitama and is like, I'm gonna attack him! And goes to attack him, and Saitama's just like, let me just kick this rubble out of the way.
And that's when I was like, okay, then, so Garo's like really injured right now, I guess. But even if he's at full power, I just feel like that's going to be the fight at the end of this show, is like Saitama's just going to easily punch him, and it's going to be over. And it's going to be like, why did I even watch any of this? What was the point of any of this show? Like, I don't know, man.
Let me reassure you, the manga has not even addressed this yet. And goes a different way. So.
Oh boy. But yeah, anyway, so he's and then as his head, Saitama's like, I really wish I could meet Garo because he might be a challenge. And meanwhile, he's just whooped Garo's ass so easily.
Yeah.
He has no idea. And meanwhile, then it goes to Speed to Sonic, and I guess he's being attacked by these two guys. And they say he's from the village. I guess it's like the ninja village that he came from.
Yeah, basically. That's what they're hinting at.
Yeah, and these guys, to me, look like they're straight out of Yu Yu Hakusho. Did you guys
yeah, those designs. Or, yeah, like, definitely look like those designs from, like, Hunter x Hunter, Yu Yu Hakusho,
it
for sure.
It looks like the Dark Tournament designs. It just reeked of it to me. And I was like, oh, I want this to be Yu Yu Hakusho. It would be so much better.
They do get another scene later on. I don't know if it'll be this season or not. So they're still semi-important, I would say.
Yeah.
So look forward to seeing them again, Kat.
Okay. It reminded me a lot of the scene right before the Dark Tournament where there's two minions who corner Yusuke in the forest and fight him before the tournament starts. It's
been a long time since I watched Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have such a prosaic memory of it. But anyway, so he decides, they want to recruit Speed of Sonic for the monster organization. And they want to take down Flashy Flash, which I still can't believe his name is Flashy Flash.
Yeah, him and Dogman are both top of the S class. They're like somewhere between 3, 4, 5, and 6 or somewhere up there in the rankings.
Huh, okay.
And they want Speed of Sonic to help, and they want him to become a monster. And oddly, Speed of Sonic's like, sure, I'll become a monster, whatever.
Well, he contemplates it a little bit.
Yeah, but not that much. I did think it was hilarious. Instead of eating it like a fruit, like everyone else did, he cooks it and makes a whole meal, like a fancy meal out of this
wine and yeah.
I know, and I'm like, what are you doing? Just eat the fucking thing. I don't know.
And he's like, I hope cooking this doesn't make it not work. I totally expect next episode to see him not be a monster because of this.
Because he
cooked it. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be funny.
That was actually maybe the funniest part of the episode for me, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you find out there's a hero called Zombie Man, which I think is hilarious because I kind of want to see him take his limbs off and throw them at people, and that's his power or something.
Well, that's not how he uses it, but I guess
don't ruin it.
I'm not going to ruin it.
and the villain is like a gorilla, and I do love this kind of bizarre humor they do, where there's like this guy that's just in the middle of a grocery store, and he comes across the villain who's also a gorilla, and so it's like two gorillas looking at each other, and he's
the other gorilla you're talking about is from season 1.
Oh, is he? I didn't realize that.
He's
"I'm just
armored gorilla. He's from season 1.
He's like, I'm just out buying groceries.
Yeah, because if you remember, he fought like a lion guy and a frog guy. Yeah, he's from season 1.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would you say that? Yeah, it was funny. And then I don't know. And then the zombie guy's like, it's suspicious that this random guy took out the monster. I'm gonna follow him. And I'm like, why does any of this matter? And then at the end, there's speculation on what the Monster Association is up to, and they kind of like go through some theories, and they talk about how they need to get the hostage back, and then suddenly this guy comes in and just repeats over and over that there's a message from the Monster Association, and then like stuff starts oozing out of his head, and I guess he's like been taken over parasitically by some monster. Yeah. And that jumble of mess is this episode of One Punch Man.
And like throughout the episode, like especially that first half, Saitama kept saying like, "Oh, I'm so bored. I'm just so bored." And I just want to say like, "I'm so bored, Saitama. Like, please do anything interesting. That would be fantastic."
I feel like the writer, this is just like a fever dream that the writer is having, and occasionally during the night he'll like wake up and he has like a person next to his bed who just writes down the gobbledygook that comes out of his mouth. Then a gorilla fights another gorilla
in a grocery store.
And then like
they
goes
were
back
on
to
the
sleep.
street. Come on.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to lose patience with it just because like it's the kind of show that doesn't really seem to be going anywhere or like using episodes to build towards something. It just seems that they have things happen and then
They're building towards the Monster Association.
I guess, but it's been taking so long. I don't know.
Garo's thing? Come on.
Yes, sort of. There's sort of like, but like, I don't still really feel like I have a great grasp on like why I should care about their character motivations, like whatsoever.
You just watch it for fun, I would say.
I guess, but I'm not having fun, so that's a problem.
I had a blast reading the manga. I'm still enjoying watching it. So, even though I know what's going to happen.
You know what I'm having a blast watching is this next show we have to talk about.
Yeah, you can wake me when it's over, please.
Sarazanmai.
Because I will like to talk about Carole and Tuesday afterwards.
Oh, absolutely. I'll wake you up before you go. Episode 9 of 11, I want to connect, but I can't express it.
I can't connect, man. It's just fucking
just
weird. I
can't
don't know
connect.
what's going on.
Sorry that you have no cell phone bars. You can't get a connection. So after being shot at the end of the episode last week, Enta is rushed to the emergency room for surgery. And meanwhile, we cut away quickly because Sarah is trying to like push Kepi, who's like trapped in that ice block because of her freezing machine. And she like pushes him out of the building and he lands in the middle of the road. And unfortunately for him, an Otter Tribe branded truck-kun is driving a little too fast and runs over Kepi, like exploding him into little pieces of ice. So that's not good.
That whole thing was so bizarre. It's like, why are we having this sideshow? I don't know.
I don't know. It made me laugh though. So Chikai and Toei are still on the boat heading out of Asakusa when they hear a news broadcast on a cell phone about Enta being shot and in like serious condition. And Chikai tells Toei that, you could go back now, but it's like now or never. Like if you stay, like you're staying. If you go back, you can't come with me. And Toei's like, well, Enta still has someone closer to him than me with Kazuki. But for you, my older brother, like I'm the only one who could stay by their side. So I guess I'm going to stay with you. Some cops try to tell Kazuki that Chikai was the shooter because they found his prints on candies that were on Enta's body. But of course, like Kazuki was there, he saw the whole thing and he knows that's a lie and tries to tell them, but they won't believe him. And like Enta's sister like shows up and reassures Kazuki that he's not at fault for all of this, which is kind of nice of her. And so after getting off the boat, Chikai is greeted by his friend Masa, who is like honored to be taking care of him, I guess. He seems like a really like happy-go-lucky guy. They kind of build him up as this nice guy who's just like happy to see his friend, which will come into play later. But yeah, meanwhile, we cut back again. This is like going through 3 storylines interwoven at all times, so sorry for the confusion. But Reo and Mabu are reconnecting over the fact that like Robo Mabu seems to have perfected those like otter manju cookies. And like Reo like embraces him, thinking like, my true Mabu's finally back.
That was cute. Like the moment where you're like, my love has made me something. I know it's them. Like that was pretty cute.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. They finally had like a nice moment there.
When you get to see how much he really does love Mabu.
Yeah, it's true. So Sara Azuma is like performing her own surgery on Kepi. She's putting all of his broken ice cubes back together. And then like
Sara should never be allowed to perform any sort of surgery on anyone. She's like perma-drunk. Like her personality is perma-drunk.
It's funny how like her and Kepi are like just these 2 like Looney Tunes characters in a show of like sort of other normal people, like for the most part. Like they're just having this like Looney Tunes skit where she like puts them back together but like puts the places in the wrong place. Like he's like a Picasso or something, and he like is horrified when he looks himself in the mirror. But like meanwhile, Toei overhears Masa telling Chikai that like when Toei killed that boss when he was a kid, it was like what allowed Chikai to become like a really well-respected Yakuza. And that made like Toei pretty angry. He starts like clutching at his like grocery bag because he went to like a convenience store or something. And like he overhearing this, he's really upset that like Chikai like sort of like doubled down on that life after like everything that happened. And like them supposedly throwing their like, guns away and everything. But we find out more about that later as well. So Enta's sister tells Kazuki that like Enta may not make it through the night, so she wants him to like go talk to him, which is like, by the way, a lot to ask of like a teenage boy. It's pretty fucked up. But I guess like if this is his last chance, sure. And she reminds him through like this flashback of when like Kazuki first met Enta, that like Enta's family had like traveled a lot overseas, and that Enta was kind of an outcast, but Kazuki reached out to him to like play soccer. And like Enta had always promised like, I will never let Kazuki be lonely again, or I'll always be by his side. And so Kazuki like runs to this like huge window outside Enta's like operating room, and he starts like begging like, come back, smile again. And like as he's saying this, like Enta's Kappa version like just pops out from like right behind him. He's like, shh, I'm here, don't tell anybody. And so Kepi who was been revived, was able to like get him out of his body. And so apparently he looks fine now, Kepi. So I guess Sara probably fixed him after she put all the pieces back together in the wrong place. But yeah, there's a timer of like on Enta's Kappa head that's ticking away, and it's how much longer he has to live. And so they're like, all right, we got to do something. And Kazuki's like, I'm going to get the dishes of hope, and we're going to save him. So meanwhile, Masa gives Chikai a ticket for like the next boat they have to take to get further away. And then after he gives him the ticket, Chikai just straight up shoots Masa dead. Because it's like, oh, he's like a loose thread. And he tells Toei, like, I did that guy a favor because he's too nice to survive in this world. Only bad people survive. That's like his whole mantra. And so another Yakuza named Taka shows up who has beef with Chikai and wants to take him down. And so a gunfight breaks out, and it looks pretty bad for Chikai until Toei whips out a gun and starts like shooting at some of these guys to get his brother out of the situation, and tells him to like basically run. Reo then, who is dancing in the streets because he's so happy, returns to find Mabu in otter agony. And he sees him with an otter version of Reo in the basement of the police station, and this otter Reo is like licking Mabu's like robo heart as he stands behind Mabu's like naked body, which is very sensual.
It's kind of creepy, honestly.
It is super creepy. There's also like, I don't know, it was weird, like part of his heart like almost looked like a nipple or something as it was like protruding out. It was really weird. And so Otter Reo tells the real Reo that otters exist as concepts in this world. And he's like a mirror of all the desires that are inside of Reo. And that Reo is the one who wants to own Mabu and like call him his own. And so Reo, like finally hearing all this, like sort of snaps out of like this like lovey-dovey mode he's been in, realizes that Robu Mabu is like an imposter, and he's going to take the real one back by force by gaining the last dish of hope. Okay, so Kazuki returns home to get the one dish he had like under his pillow, and he wakes up his little brother Haruka, and Haruka tells him how Enta was with him during rehab and how they shared that same dream that Kazuki would like smile again. And it's funny because like when he was younger, they talk about how he idolized this soccer player named Lionel Kappa, which is like an obvious reference to like Lionel Messi, like the most famous soccer player in the world. I guess he's the most famous. It's either him or Cristiano Ronaldo, one or the other. But anyway, Toei catches up with Chikai, who's like running away from the fight, and tells him like the gun he had was the one from 4 years ago, that like when they threw it off the bridge, he had swapped out the real gun and kept it all this time just in case he needed it again. And so Toei is like pissed with Chikai, like asks like if Chikai is going to throw him away too, like he's thrown everything else away in his life that's gone wrong. And even if Chikai is like bad to the core, he wants to like basically believe in him because he's still his brother no matter what. And Chikai, sensing this like weakness, like smirks and like goes up to him and points his gun right at Toei's head and says like, "You're like a little too good to be my brother, and bad people are the ones who survive." And so a gunshot goes off, which is like playing on our heartstrings for a second, but we immediately see that it was Taka, the other Yakuza, who shot Chikai from a distance, and Taka like starts to like celebrate. He's like, "Yeah, I got him!" And then Chikai like immediately shoots him. it's like, oh shit, dude.
Yeah.
But Chikai's mortally wounded. Like Toei's like, "Oh, we should go to a hospital," but he's like, "No, there's no time." He like kind of flops down on the top of this boat as they're going down the river, and he's like, "I had everything planned out. It would worked out if only you hadn't messed it up, Toei." And he like tries to give him some cash to like feed himself, and he says it's like, "Oh, it's such a bitch trying to connect."
And then he fucking dies like a sucker.
Yeah. And like
It's
Toei
like,
pulls
what the fuck?
Yeah, he pulls that photo out of his brother's pocket that has like his whole family crossed out in black marker except for Toei. He's like the only one he ever cared about. And so it's like I have like a lot of conflicting emotions about this because like Chikai is so clearly a bad person. But at the same time, he does die tragically, and he did care a lot about Toei.
I mean, it's hard to not have some conflicting emotions with someone. Like, you're going to have resentment and love there, which is, I think, what's going on here.
Yeah.
It is hard to understand what exactly he was thinking at the end, though. Like, was he really wanting them to be together? Was he expecting that he was going to die all along? It's really
he seems like he's just so fucked up by losing his parents and having to like resort to this life of crime to feed his family, and his whole life mantra has like led him to this tragic end, and there was just nothing that could be done to turn him away from it, I guess. So in a way it is tragic, but at the same time he was a bad dude and he had this coming. And then they play some sad piano music over like this flashback of images of like the two brothers as they're growing up, basically like playing soccer, blah, blah, blah. And Toei like is remembering all this. And like at the end, he takes this backpack full of cash, throws it all into the river and like screams like, "Fuck." 'Cause yeah, the only thing he truly cared about anymore is, according to Toei anyway, just left the world. And so the only thing left is to go back to his two friends, I suppose. But yeah, I think Toei is going to be better off now that this like bleak influence is out of his life. But it sucks because it was his only remaining family, really. And so now he has to start over again with like Kazuki and Enta probably, and those are going to have to be his family now. It's a pretty sad episode, honestly. But yeah.
Would either of you rather spend an entire weekend with Sybil from Carole Tuesday rather than watch another episode of this show?
No, it's a fucking
absolutely
good
not.
show, Leo.
Absolutely
you.
not. I would spend like
absolutely-
2 minutes with Sybil from Carole Tuesday. Holy shit. She's so creepy.
I would absolutely do it just so I would not have to watch another
She
episode.
is creepy though. Like Sybil is weird.
Yeah. I don't know. So I'm curious. I guess I sort of know in the immediate future where the show is going. There's going to be this like Kepi versus Dark Kepi showdown, and Ryu trying to save Mabu while Kazuki is trying to save Enta. And, you know, conflicting ideologies. So that's going to be interesting. And yeah, I think I was right. I think there are only 11 episodes of Sarazanmai, so there's only 2 left. I looked that up. So next episode should be pretty big, if that's the case.
Thank God. In all honesty, though, like the drama in this show is just so over the top for me that, like, my mind just tells me, like, if this was a person I met in real life, it just fucking ignored them because they're being so overdramatic. Don't pay attention to them at all. And that's like, that's how I watch this show. And I watch it like that. And I'm glancing over at one of my other 2 screens and I just can't stay focused because I'm like, this is the worst way to react to whatever the fuck is going on right now. Calm down. Just fucking, I don't know, grab a notepad and write out your thoughts just to get it out of you or something. Whatever you need to do to help. So like just watching it and I can't help but shake my head the entire time the episode is on because it's just like everybody can handle this so much better. You don't have to be this emotional. I don't know.
But like, some people are. Like, some people need to express that stuff. And these are definitely those types of people.
That's why I suggest, all right, grab a notepad, write it out, get it so it helps get you out of the system if that's what you need to do. But I'm not a person who overly expresses their emotions, which is me. But it's just so when I see it just overdone and I feel like they're almost doing it to get attention, which is what drives me the craziest, which is what I feel like. I feel like they're doing this to get attention from the others. And I'm like, oh no, I immediately cut you off. If I feel like you're doing something to get attention, I'm like, I'm not going to talk to you. I don't care what the fuck your problem is at this point in time. Get away from me. You are making this way worse than the situation needs to be.
They do seem like they're all making the situation, even like in the earlier lighthearted episodes, like Enta is like making things way worse than they need to be by just like not saying how he feels.
That will turn me off more than damn near most anything, really. So, but that I feel like does not happen at all in Carole Tuesday. I feel like that drama is like legit. Like even Tuesday's like her angstiness to like go on stage and stuff like that, or like how she deals with Sybil or however you want to say her name. Like that's like a legit problem for her, and she's not doing it to get attention. She would rather not have the attention, and like that's why I love this show so much more than the other one. Like this is how I like my drama if we're going to do drama.
Yeah,
so,
I will say yes. Carole Tuesday's characters feel a bit more like real people rather than like hyper exaggerated, emotionally at 100% versions of people.
Yeah.
And then that's why I dig it, and that's why I cannot stand Sarazanmai. It just drives me up the wall watching that episode. I'm so uncomfortable. Ugh.
I enjoy Sarazanmai a lot. Like, I don't like some of the weirder, like, cartoony stuff, like with the, like, oh, it's
pole
shattered,
dancing.
he has to be put back together kind of thing. But I like the overall themes of the show. I do.
See, I think I was finding those cartoony segments to be like kind of a relief from like the dark emotional tone.
That I get. Yeah, the little bit of a comic relief, so to say. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Carole Tuesday, episode 9. Dancing Queen, you are the dancing queen. Yeah, it's the ABBA song. We all
only 17. Wait, what?
Wait a minute.
Only 17? She's still a year younger. What the fuck?
Don't worry.
Even that's questionable.
Leo, you will have another chance to sing a little bit later. So
I'm not going to fucking sing. You didn't sing for me. I'm not singing for you. Fuck you.
Maybe we can
you
all take a
motherfucking
line.
Fucker.
So the girls have some downtime before the second round of the Mars Brightest competition, and Carole, sort of sneakily took the time to go shopping, and she bought a gift. We also find out later in the episode that Tuesday's birthday is coming up, and it's never mentioned again that Carole bought this gift and what it's for, but I'm sure that's what it's for. Meanwhile, Tuesday's mother is making a campaign announcement in the background on a billboard screen.
And she has before. But.
Yeah, she has done before, but this was the most specific one because it kind of talks about what her policy is, or what her current issue is, and she's running for president of Mars. And her speech alludes to the idea that Earth has been casting a shadow on all of Mars's decisions. So there's tension between Earth and Mars, which is kind of interesting to me. And so Gus decides to have the girls watch the second part of the first round. Oh,
Carole guesses that she goes, "That's your mom, right?" Because she was in politics.
Figures it out. Yeah.
And Tuesday's like, yeah. And then Carol's like, "Holy shit, really?"
Do you think that Mars is a colony of Earth then?
I don't know. I it could be something like that, where Earth's laws apply to Mars, and Mars doesn't have much say in it.
Well, it also makes me wonder how much
the
politics
US.
is going to come into later in the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Which could be interesting.
I want more than 24 episodes of this. God damn it.
24 is a good number. I'm happy with that. There's plenty of time to flesh all this stuff out. So Gus decides he's going to have the girls watch the second part of the first round of the competition to scope people out, figure out who their competition is. And so they go to the dressing room to just hang out for a bit before things start. And as soon as she enters the dressing room, Tuesday is just accosted by Sibel, who hugs her and then sits her down. She's like, "Oh, I need to brush your beautiful hair. It's a little bit knotted." And then she then asks if they can form a new band called Sibel and Tuesday.
Oh, I immediately was like, "Fuck you, bitch."
Yeah, right.
Fuck you for suggesting this at all, let alone in front of Carole. If Carole got up and clocked her, I'd have been you're in your right.
Yeah, Carole's surprisingly reserved about this. She's like, "I'm gonna let Tuesday deal with this." But then even it gets to a point where she just drags Tuesday out of the dressing room, saying I need to speak with her, and asking if you're uncomfortable with this girl, you need to tell her, you need to speak up. And Tuesday's like, "I don't know how to handle something like this."
Yeah. See, and that's one of my points. That's legit her character. She doesn't know how to deal with these type of people. Right. This is not her over dramatizing it.
Yeah, exactly. She's just never dealt with anything like this before.
Yeah, I think you said they seem so much more real, and then I think that's why I really like the show. So,
yeah, and Carole's first question that she asks her is even a cynical one, "Oh, do you like this attention?" And Tuesday's like, "No, it's just I don't know what the hell I'm doing."
Right.
So it's funny because Gus and Dahlia are both in the audience, and they're in the VIP seats, and they kind of look at each other and then look away because they're angry, and then they both just sit right next to each other because what else are they gonna do? And so Dahlia kind of jibes him how he must have come here because he was so interested in Angel, and he's like, "Oh no, it's one of these other great performers I was dying to see." Which we will quickly discover is definitely not the case.
Unfortunately, there's only one, and she's a weirdo.
Yeah. So Angela's still bothered that Tao hasn't bothered to come to this performance, and orders her assistant to go find him again. But it does turn out he did show up, and he's hanging out in the back of the auditorium with the camera guys. But he might be there for a different reason entirely. But anyway, the round first pits this performer named GGK versus the Mermaid Sisters, who we will definitely talk about. But GGK...
Which, so far as the first song, I did not like.
Oh, the GGK song? Yeah.
Yeah. How she paced her lyrics, it felt so, stuttered, I guess, to me.
It's intentional. It's not stuttered. It's
No. It's how she was supposed to sing it, but it felt like an offbeat in a drum set or something to me.
Yeah, it's a little syncopated. Mm-hmm.
It grinded against me, and I was like, "Oh, I do not like this at all."
I thought it was pretty cool. So she's got this. She's weird. Also, she has dark skin and elf ears, and she tells the judges like, "Oh, I'm not singing. I've been possessed by the
Jesus
universe."
Christ!
I was like, stop the bullshit. That's what I took from that.
Like Catherine, like one of the judges, like it says here you're like 13.8 billion and 22 years old. She's like, yeah, I'm connected to the universe. My song's called Milky Way. I was just like, oh my god. So yeah, it's like a really slow, like Leo was saying, like syncopated, smooth jazz almost song with like this soft electronic beat underneath it. And like Carole Tuesday are pretty entranced by her whole like her outfit is like glowing like a galaxy or something. And yeah, her vocals are sung by Madison McFerrin, who is the daughter of Bobby McFerrin, who's like this 10-time Grammy Award-winning jazz vocalist, smooth jazz guy. So that was interesting. I thought that like was a really cool link. But the judges seemed to like her song, saying it was like original and that she put her soul in. Well, you know, they can say whatever they want about it, you know.
It felt like she was singing a different song over a different beat. It was.
That's the point.
It sounded like I sat here and I couldn't help but cringe. It sounded so wrong. I was like, she's singing the wrong song to this song.
It's almost basically like spoken word poetry accompanying a beat. Like, yeah, it's not that far away from that. And it comes from a musical tradition that has existed for a long time, but it is very not pop.
That's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. I also like how
to me, a singer's voice is just another instrument in the band.
Yeah.
And then just take a band without the singer to have like the guitarist or the bass or even the drums doing something different is what that was to me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
To me, it's just like music can be almost anything. Like, and so like if that style
there
of
has
music,
to be some flow, and to me that was just like
there was definitely
an
flow.
upstream
I
and
know
a downstream
that's what you
hitting
think,
each other.
Leo, but
yeah,
I
that's
enjoyed the song. I thought it was a good
and
song.
I didn't. That's what I'm trying to explain. It was like a flow upstream and a flow
But
downstream.
it's not your,
and they were
it's not
hitting,
your
and I was like,
style. It's not what you enjoy. But there are a lot
like
of
other
things
people will
don't
like connect
enjoy.
with this music. Yeah, like other people will
and I
like
would
really
love-
connect
and-
with it. Yeah.
And I'm saying this because I want to understand it more. I want to understand why you guys enjoyed it, and I was just like, what the did they fuck this up on purpose?
I actually just thought it was like very relaxing and put me in like an interesting frame of mind. Like her whole song is about how like she's like sort of connected to the universe, and like it sounds like something you would write when you were like high on fucking LSD or something.
Well,
and
that was the thing. I couldn't even focus on the lyrics. I was just like, what? The beat of the lyrics was just so far off for me. I was like, what?
It reminded me of the kind of spacing of some poetry.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And I like poetry a lot, so I think I like.
I've never really listened to poetry, so that might be part of it.
Well, for something completely different, the next act up are the Mermaid Sisters.
Yes.
So they're asked like, how did you guys get your group name? I say guys, but they'll explain in a second that they respond that like the mermaids are neither human nor fish, just like how they are neither men nor women. So it's like more of that gender ambiguity on Mars here, like with this group. And they even like say that they want to become a new type of human. And I when I heard new type, I immediately thought of like Gundam for a second, but I was like, okay, let's not think about Gundam. But yeah, like that's interesting that they're like wholly embracing that like gender fluidity in between the two genders. It's definitely like a big theme of this show at this point with them and Dahlia. So they then launch into a barbershop quartet vocal harmony number that they snap their fingers to, like da 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 da, and which Leo's going to perform right now.
Well, you mean all of us because it's a quartet.
Sure.
Oh, I guess we can try.
No, we're not. We're not going to do this to our,
yes,
to our
we are.
poor
You
listeners.
said it now, Leo. You said it.
Fucking bullshit, cats. Fucking bullshit. Holy shit, oh fucker. We're not going to do this.
Fucking bullshit. Fucking bullshit. Oh man, it's so ridiculous. So yeah,
The
it's just
scenes of like parents in the crowd covering their kids' ears and people just looking on like, what the fuck is going down right now?
It's not even that much of a cuss word. It's like the most generic, boring cusses there is. Like,
yeah, but one of my first thoughts was, they passed auditions with this?
yeah.
Yeah, like what? Oh my god. And so they just go on for like an entire verse of just like motherfucker, goddamn bullshit, holy shit, fucking shit, son of a bitch, blah blah blah. And like Catherine, the Simon Cowell-esque judge, is just like yells at them to just stop.
After she like snaps a pen in her hand, like, god damn it.
In real life, she would have ink everywhere.
Yeah, that's a good point. And like, so GGK like almost wins by default because like Catherine's like, yeah, you guys had great harmony, but like utterly terrible lyrics. And the Mermaid Sisters get real pissed and they call Catherine like a fucking hag and tell her that these lyrics are, quote, who we are.
Yep.
Wait, so what you are is fucking bullshit? I'm so confused. Like, oh my god. And so they start wrecking the stage and like tearing shit down, throwing shit at the judges, and they have to go to commercial. So when we come back from that, Sibel pretends to be like nervous before her performance and takes advantage of Tuesday to get like a hug. And then when she's hugging her, like just bites her on the neck like a fucking vampire, leaving like teeth marks.
So
she marked her.
Yeah.
So first off, this is really creepy and fucked up.
Yes.
But Tuesday has for a while been feeling creeped out by Sibel.
Mm-hmm.
And she did not want to hug Sibel. But she did it anyway.
She did it anyway because she's like, I see that this person needs help.
Which is Tuesday's character, yes.
Yeah.
It fits.
I feel like this is a lesson in when you aren't comfortable with someone, do not allow them to continue to push you for things.
Yeah, Sibel's like preying on her
Yeah,
goodwill.
you remind me of the time I met Kat and she hugged me and bit me.
Fight you.
I just want to eat you up, Leo.
You're like, oh no. And I'm like, yes, Leo, yes.
God, yeah, it's just almost nothing pisses me off more than like people taking advantage of other people's like goodwill. And like, so that scene like really pissed me off. Like that was such a overstepped line.
As much as Sibel makes us feel uncomfortable, that like, that's just a good character being written, really.
Sure.
Because
Later,
that's
Sibel
how we're supposed to
makes
feel
it
about her.
seem like Tuesday allowed it to happen, or like Tuesday asked for it.
Yeah, she's
and that also was shit.
Yeah, it's
so
bullshit.
Tuesday didn't know she was going to get bitten. Come on.
Yeah, well, but she later pretends as if like, oh, I've already marked you, and how cruel of you, and she almost like she twists the situation. It was really fucked up.
Yeah, she's just so centered. It's ridiculous. Censored, not censored at all.
Not censored at all.
Yeah. So the real reason we find out that Tao came to the performance was he wanted to get a chance to speak with Carole and Tuesday if they were there. So he finds out they're there and he goes up to them and immediately just asks them like a few questions. He's like, who writes your songs? And they're like, oh, we do. And then he's like, do you use AIs? And they're like, no, we don't. And then he's like, he seems like kind of annoyed, and then he just leaves. And he like leaves the whole event. He doesn't even like stay for Angela's performance. That's all he wanted to know because he clearly saw their performance on TV last episode.
So he basically did what Angela did the last episode. He basically was just like, all right, I recognize you have talent.
Right.
And I see you as somewhat of a rival. So, yeah.
Yeah, he needs to figure out what their deal is because if he's going to make Angela the biggest star, he needs to know how to defeat any rival that comes in her way, I guess, too. So he probably doesn't consider them that much of a threat because they don't use AI. He probably is like, oh, they probably won't go that far.
I think the fact that he asked if they used AI and they didn't, I feel like that confirms that he was like, shit, the lyrics are actually kind of good.
Yeah, or maybe there's something that's missing from his algorithms.
Maybe, maybe I should be worried, or just like you just said, no, the algorithms, maybe I need to
tweak
some more work into that. Yeah.
And so Angela's like pissed at Tao for leaving early, but like Dahlia gets her like concentrate on the performance. But Sibel is up first, and she's going to sing a song in French because she wants to express beauty, which she believes can only be expressed by young people before their spark fades.
This is such a bizarre. I don't know how to think about this.
Yeah, she's like, I want to leave something beautiful behind before I like disappear. It's such a weird
Before
outlook.
I get old is what she fucking said.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if she's like a vampire or something, like literally. Like, it's so weird. I don't know.
Well, it's a
I feel
shame
like-
that she's so creepy and like twisted because she has such a great sound.
And it's also weird. This is like apparently her first time ever performing in front of an audience. But she's like, oh, I've been blessed by a goddess, so I'll be fine, which is Tuesday, who she bit. And so, yeah, she sings this French song called La Ballade, which is like a French kind of electropop love ballad about like a love that's about complete devotion, like a blood oath, and like finding like a world with this person that's like eternally snowing and like dying there with them is basically what the song's about.
This is the second song where I didn't really like. This one, though, I think if I listen to it a couple more times, I may be turned on to it and like it a little bit more. But like, I've loved every song up till this episode, and suddenly 2 songs came out that I didn't really like.
This may be one of the first anime albums I ever buy.
Oh, you didn't buy Megalobox? Megalobox is
I
fucking
wasn't as
amazing.
into it as you guys were, but I'm very into almost all of the songs.
It's got so much
Work out to-
variety to it as well.
Work out to Megalobox's soundtrack. It is fucking phenomenal. Most of their songs.
But yeah, this vocalist is an artist named Maika Lubte, who like I guess has a studio in Tokyo, is like multicultural as well, and very interesting voice. But yeah, so finally Angela takes the stage after her and sings a fully produced version of the like Move Mountains song or Moving Mountains, whatever, when she sang that like a cappella for like the hedge fund guy earlier. And her voice is like the perfect example of that like pristine pop radio voice you hear on like any top hits station with like the perfect amount of auto tune and like, you know, just like the perfect register. And like she just blows it out of the water basically. And like the audience gives her like a resounding applause. And the judges are like, oh, it's a really tough decision, but we underestimated you, Angela, the person who is the star of the show and bringing them all the attention. You're not just a model anymore, you're a singer.
It does feel like it's unfair to put anyone against Angela because they knew she was going to be, you know, moved up.
Because it's like hard to say like who had the better song between Sibel and Angela.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah.
I would probably go with Sibel's song, honestly.
Yeah.
But like,
Oh, no. I 100% Angela. Way over Sibel's song.
If you want to make money, you go with Angela's song 100%.
Yeah,
like,
but
if
like
you want to put something on the
Sibel's
radio,
song was more interesting. And I don't know. I don't know.
I would give it like
I feel like they should, if they were gonna play it like it was rigged, they should have put her against someone that they knew wasn't gonna pass in the first place, like
the Mermaid Sisters.
the Mermaid Sisters or something, so that it wouldn't be so cruel to whoever.
That's too ridiculous.
I will say, like, I will give Angela props because, like, I thought her pop song sounded like it could almost be on the radio. Like, it was good enough.
It was honestly like uppity and kind of upbeat and like really nice. And I was honestly surprised by Sibel's reaction to losing. I expected like some type of breakdown, but
Me too.
That's not what we got at all.
She just like runs to like try to hug Tuesday and say like, oh, we'll just have to play together next time. We'll with our new band. And like Tuesday's like, look, I'm really devoted to my own band right now. I don't think I can do both. And that's when Sibel kind of like throws a hissy fit and like it's like, I even marked you, blah blah blah.
I know, like she did it on purpose, and Tuesday asked for it or something, which pissed me off even more.
When she said marked you, I was like, did you pee on her too?
Maybe a little bit. No, it's that she like storms off, and that's the end. So that's the end of the first round. So Angela and GGK move on to the next one. So
It's
it'll be
also a
interesting.
shame because you know that no matter who's against Angela, Angela will win. It's just annoying.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I don't know.
yeah.
I think it's leaving that slightly up to interpretation. So maybe
Well,
not.
I mean, maybe Carole and Tuesday because they are the stars of this anime, but you know that no matter who else is against her, Angela will win. They will pass Angela, and that's kind of shitty.
So I think this arc ends with Angela winning Mars Brightest, but believing that Carole and Tuesday should have won is probably how this is going to go. Because, like, that just seems like it makes the most sense.
I don't
Or like
know.
the fans, like against the judges. is what
Yeah,
you're
it
saying?
could be. Yeah, and then, like, there's a growing, like, support for Carole and Tuesday. And, like, Angela feels like she has to prove something even though she won. And, yeah, that'll be really interesting to see. Like, it could be a thing where, like, Carole and Tuesday get, like, a massive applause from the audience and Angela doesn't, but, like, the judges still think she was better or something like that. Though usually in those types of shows, like, the audience can determine a lot. So I'm not sure.
Okay. Out of these 8 shows between you two, what is the one show that makes you want to watch the next episode more than anything else?
Right now, Attack on Titan.
Really?
Because it's in the middle of such a crazy arc. At the beginning of the season, it definitely would have been Carole and Tuesday. But Attack on Titan and also Demon Slayer have been, like, so good lately that I've been really excited about both of those.
Okay, so those two. What about you, Kat?
Attack on Titan is probably the most interesting right now because of like the cliffhanger. But Carole and Tuesday, I think, is the most overall good show.
Me too. Yeah, I think it's the better show right now, even as good as Attack on Titan has been. But yeah.
Okay, so like I'm on board with Attack on Titan, but I will say follow next by Demon Slayer. But really, it's Jojo and Carole and Tuesday that take the top spot for me.
That makes
Like,
sense.
I finish an episode and I'm just like, I'll just watch the next 5 minutes of the next episode. It's like what I tell myself because like I really want to know what happens.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I have the next episode, Carole and Tuesday, saved right now. I see the icon on my desktop, and all I gotta do is click it to watch it. And it hurts so hard not to do it.
Does it hurt, Leo? Poor Leo.
Poor Leo. It's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh man, that episode was definitely not bullshit. I feel bad for the
No.
Mermaid Sisters. They were really interesting characters. I hope we see more of them someday.
Yeah, 3 of them were dressed up in drag, and
Yeah,
then there
and the
was
other
just
one was
like
not,
the one, just shirtless with boxers pulled up all the way up his ass crack and pants sagging. But
It's interesting. All right, I think that's it for this podcast. You want to take us out? Leo, I think it should be. Leo started.
it's Cat.
It was a cat.
Yeah, it's me.
Cat,
It's his eye.
we're worried about finding out what the fuck is in her basement.
It's
That's
his
right.
eye.
Leave it to me to not trust my own document that I made.
I know. Thanks for listening. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube to get updates on new podcasts or videos. You can also find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, or like any fucking podcast app. Like it's on there. They all get the same shit. Follow us on Twitter at Nerdom and Other for updates as well. Hang out on our fucking Discord. Come on, do it. You like it. I promise.
Cat
It's
says that, but she never says anything. It's only me and Bcom.
It's true.
okay, that's not true.
It's true. It's all true.
Oh, you assholes.
All of it.
I'm going to be extra fucking present now. Just to kick
Good.
your asses.
My
and
ploy
lie.
worked.
You fucking liars. Anyway, the link is in the description. Come be on our fucking Discord. And with that, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Later, guys.
Bye.